go ahead and get started with the town council meeting. It is Tuesday, December 17th at 6:04 p.m. And this is the Virgin Town Council. So first off is the pledge of allegiance. So we'll all stand. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, do we have any conflicts of interest among the town council members with anything that is on the agenda? And we'll start with Valerie. No. Misty? No. Me? No. Paul?
No.
And April? No. Okay. Then we're moving on. And so the first item up is Paul Taylor is here on behalf of the private sewer line that is still in the design phase that would come into Virgin. And I want to make it clear before Paul gets up to talk about what he wants to talk about, that this is a private sewer line. And the town, this is not the town sponsoring it, we've got nothing to do with it, other than the fact that it is coming into town. And we will not be billing, we've got nothing to do with it, it's private and the private companies and whoever wants to attach, they will get billed by Ash Creek directly. So Paul is here to talk a little bit about those who might want to join the sewer line and get off of septic. So Paul, and there's, how many people are online right now? Three. We'll probably have more join.
Right.
Go ahead with what you wanted to say.
Well, perfect. Thank you very much, Mayor, and appreciate your time. I'm Paul Taylor and I'm an independent contractor. Sent out, Ash Creek has asked that we come out and get a level of interest from the town who would be interested. They are planning to run sewer from Laverkin, the town of Virgin, and through White Bison, down Water Street, up Mill Street, and then future phases will continue through the town. So we're just getting a level of interest. And so I've been out knocking doors and contacting property owners and getting just a feel for the level of interest that's here in town. It's been quite positive. There's been quite a bit of interest, knowing that they do have issues with their septic lines, and that there's been a high level of optimism, knowing that that's coming to town. And so that's my purpose. I've been knocking doors, contacting, emailing, and there's got to be more ways to get in touch with everyone, get the word out. And town council was my next step. So just wanted to let people know that will be coming to town. Their goal, Ash Creek's goal, is to start the first quarter of next year. But timeframes and everything else will kind of fall in place as the project moves along. We'll know more. And then I've got the letter of intent here and I can read it, or however you recommend.
I don't think that there's necessarily a need to review it. That's that right there, and it's just 2 pages, front and back. It basically just asks the name, property address, tax parcel ID, what type of home they have or business, and whether or not they're interested in connecting to the sewer. And then to say what the fees are. And that's really it. And if people sign and date if they are interested, and they turn it in to you.
Yep, and there's an email or a phone number that you can contact. It's not a legal document by any means. It is just a letter of interest. And so it can be you can text it over, email it back to us. We're hoping to get these all in by Friday this week. We've got quite a few already, it's just now those who are, who I haven't been able to contact.
Okay, so I understand you've gone, so besides knocking on doors in this part of town, this, where we are now, you're in this area, and then have you gone along and talked to the different businesses on the highway?
Correct, yes, I have, and that'll all be part of phase two, and I'm not quite sure the phasing and the boundaries where they plan to start, and for future phasing, for example, if we have someone in town and off the main highway, what that looks like, if there's interest and there's enough interest, then maybe there's ways that can be, adapted to help those residents out. But like I said, as far as phase one, that's from Laverican to the top of Mill Street here, and then phase two, I believe, runs along the Highway Street down. Future phasing, so this is just to help Ash Creek know how to phase it and what that looks like.
Okay, and from what you told me the last time you and I talked, in this area, you've had a lot of people interested.
Yeah, I would say probably 90%, and there were 5% that were on the fence, and then maybe another 5% that were no thank you. But other than that, there's been quite a bit of interest, especially the business owners on your way through town and out that way, so.
Okay, all right. Anybody have anything you would like to ask him before we,
I have a question.
Okay.
So on SR9, is it just properties adjacent to SR9, or are you asking everybody?
We'd like to get a feel for everybody,
Okay.
just so that we know, so Ash Creek can come in and say, okay, there's enough need here, we can accommodate, because, for future, that I know that septic lines they work great for a while, and then, to protect the Virgin River, all of those things, there's a lot of stuff that they're taking into consideration, so.
so let me follow up on what Valerie was asking. So are you planning to go to any of the other neighborhoods and check and see if there's interest, or just this neighborhood where we are now?
We would like to know the interest of the entire town,
Oh,
if possible, if
okay.
at all possible. Whether or not the phases will allow for that, I don't know, but if there's interest, then maybe they can accommodate and make that work. It's just and when that time frame is, I don't know. I'm
Okay.
not sure what that looks like.
Okay, this is just that phase one that's starting here. And didn't you say when you stopped by my house? And so you went,
Beautiful chandelier, by the way.
huh,
Beautiful chandelier.
yes, my aunt. It's going down 100, right?
So
To
Water Street.
Water Street, then up Mill Street.
And then up Mill Street, and then where does it, I think it's coming out on SR9. and
Then the backbone will run, I believe, right down SR9 to the auto camp. at the
And
top
is it-
down.
So when it goes down Water Street, it's coming from White Bison,
Correct, it is.
right?
So yes, I've been in all meetings.
Okay, I just wanna make sure so that I understand that. Okay, thank you.
Yes, Paul.
So, excuse me, because I'm not in the loop, like, it sounds like some other individuals are. When you said we and an independent contractor, I assume for Ash Creek?
So Ash Creek has asked that we put together, I work with EGI Real Estate, I've worked closely with Zion White Bison as
Okay.
well. And that's who you'll be sending the letters through. It's Amberly, Judy, and her email is amberly@egirealestate.com.
It's on the letter.
Okay.
It's in the letter. And any information will go through her, and then we're gonna compile all of that for Ash Creek and give that to them so that they have.
And you said, first quarter next year is kind of, where are you in the whole scheme of things? Has there been a plan? Has the plan been drafted?
Can you I can answer all that.
Go right
I
ahead.
don't think you can.
Yeah.
Okay, because
You'll
you
know.
haven't been in those meetings.
Right.
Okay. They've got a design. Ash Creek is working on a design. And right now, the design, it comes up the hill from Laverican. Comes, it doesn't follow the highway all the way up the twist. It kind of comes across, that land that's going to be sold to, it has that development agreement at the top of the hill. And then it'll eventually hit the highway, that's gonna come into Virgin. And will right before the dip, where there's Zion White Bison begins, it's gonna go down the hill to the bottom of Zion White Bison, there's gonna be a pump station there. And then it's gonna come this way to Water Street. And then up Mill Street, and then over to, and then along the highway again. So for the dip, where the dip starts, right there by, that house that, Sheriff Bagley owns that house right there. You know which one I'm talking about, it's a stone house right there, right before the dip.
Yeah.
There will not be sewer line, it will not come down the highway, down that dip and then up and over to Mill Street. It's going to go down around through Zion White Bison, come over Water Street and then up to Mill. And so that's the route that they're planning. And what they've said is with this funding that Ash Creek got a year ago, that they got this funding, wasn't it, April? When
It was for the,
or earlier
feasibility
this
study,
year?
it was a feasibility study, money funding for that.
And, they've got the design. But if they change the design to add any additional neighborhoods beyond like here, it will cost more and they'll have to start all over because of the funding that they got and what the design is. And so they really aren't gonna deviate from what they have now. If they're asking for interest in different neighborhoods, that's just for future.
You're probably one.
But you were asking about when they're gonna start, and so what.
Where are they, what's the start?
So what happened is, they were gonna go all the way down the highway. And when I was talking with them about everything, they indicated that if they could have a gravity line at Mill Street, that came down Mill Street and across Water Street over to, Zion White Bison, that would cost a lot less money than if they just stayed all on the highway and had to have two more pumps to get through that dip and up. And I said, well, if you came down Mill Street and over on Water, then maybe this people that live along Mill Street and Water might want to join, and apparently everybody's pretty much wanting to get on. And, in fact, I've been approached by other people, other roads down here, who said, well, what about us? What about us? We want it. They've all been signing this letter of intent. So I had to go back to Ash Creek and say, hey, these other streets are interested, and they're like, we can probably add them without changing the design. But it's getting close to the point where they just have to just find out for the future.
What's the?
Oh, and so what happened is I said to them that we wanted to redo the street out here, repave the street and put new water lines. And that's where we're gonna do that. They want to put the sewer line at the same time. And they would contribute money toward doing the road, because if we did our road and the water line, and then they came later and put in the sewer, we'd have to tear it all up and redo it. So we might as well just do it all at one time and save money on both sides. And so they indicated that they thought they might get started like July or August on Mill Street. So my plan is when we do the budget for next year, I want us to budget for doing, that capital improvement down the road in the water.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, capital improvements committee is gonna be interested in the
Yes.
start date.
And then he had suggested that we use the same, Ash Creek suggested we use the same contractor that they're gonna be using, because then one contractor does the whole thing.
And I would assume the new development that's going up in Laverne is gonna be part of it,
Oh, for sure.
because I think that's probably what's a grind and pay for.
That is exactly what it is.
Is there any right of way issues that you have? Do they have all the right of way?
I would have to ask Ash Creek, he won't know that.
You don't know that one.
No, he's just doing the letters of intent.
Yeah.
That's something I'd have to ask Ash Creek the next, Zoom call.
So is it possible for the town to get a set of plans and final plans then, once they're,
Once they're done, I don't see why not.
okay, we probably would like to have that.
So then the next meeting, I don't think, we did not have a meeting this month, yesterday. I don't think we're gonna be having a meeting next Monday, because that's the 30th.
Mhm.
I expect the next meeting will be after the new year. So since you have been on the calls a couple of times, if you're on the next one, then you can just ask about,
Okay.
because,
So to bring it back to what you're presenting and asking questions, when you came and talked to me, just for people listening that, because they're probably wondering what this, when they're gonna ask these questions when this comes around. So, didn't you tell me it was about $3,000 to connect or?
Yes, yeah, it's right here.
300?
it's 31.
So, but is there any other costs that attach to that?
You'll have your monthly fee after that, which is just, it's also written on there.
And if I choose not to join it, when you don't join it, do you get another fee?
I'm not sure how.
What do you
Is that
think?
the, do we, are we as, remind me, are we, the residents, all of us are getting a flat fee for sewer, or is it just people who join the sewer?
Just those who join.
There's
I'm just trying to think of the questions they're gonna, I wonder when you're walking around asking, some of the ones I asked you even.
Well, that's it, that's something, that's a good question this week, because my recollection was, and I don't think it's ever been clear, is that once you're in so many feet of that sewer line, are you then gonna be assessed that fee? And I think the answer was yes.
So that's where my question comes in.
Okay,
is-
Here's
so
here's what I wanna make clear. That only applies if it's a public sewer line. We are not doing this
This
sewer
is
line.
what
This is
Or
a
if there's
private,
any public funds that.
no public funds.
Okay,
So
that-
This
that makes
is
a difference.
private, and the only people who pay are those who say, I want to join. That's it.
That makes sense.
Nobody else.
Right, so that's gonna be a question that I'm sure
Right,
that
yeah.
people are wondering right now as they're standing here.
No, you will not
And
be
then-
required to join.
And then I also believe that I was on the no side,
Uh-huh.
because we just checked our system and it's in excellent
Condition.
condition, yeah, there's. We even asked Ash Creek and they said it was in great.
The only thing.
But my question is, they're gonna ask a lot of questions like, how, so I can refuse and I don't have to get on it, even though it's going right in front of my house. There's no point.
Right.
Because it's still
It is
private,
private.
there's no point you're going to ask us to go on until it goes public.
Correct.
And then when it goes public, then I'm assessed a fee just for having it in front of my house, even though I opted out with a great sewer system that I
That
currently have.
That we would have to ask Ash Creek again,
And that's-
but that is sometime in the future.
It is,
I.
but this generates those concerns,
Yeah.
so.
But that's why I was trying to emphasize private versus public.
Right, but it
This is
will
private.
switch at some point and become ours. That's the,
Could be 10 years from now, I don't know.
but it will, so that's why I was asking those questions, but.
I have a question for you, Mayor. Would it be worth sending this out to the town's email list?
Would you want that to go out to the entire town?
I would have to think about that. I know in the last meeting that what Ash Creek said is that they're only interested at this point in time in going south of the highway. They're not interested in going north of the highway.
So was that your directive when you were told?
Yeah, at some point, we are gonna wanna know from the entire town, but like you say, I believe that will be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometime in the future. If we send this out to everybody in town, I just see a hornet's nest of questions and misunderstandings and misinformation.
There's already so much.
There's already that, even right here in this neighborhood, I'm sure.
Yeah, there is, that's why I was asking lots of questions.
No, great question, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna leave a few copies here, I have 8 or so that I'll leave with Crystal, and then,
And you can hand a copy to them in the audience on your way out, if you guys are both wanting to see what this is. And then give the rest to Crystal.
Thank you very much.
All right,
Very good.
see, I told you I'd go first, and then you can go.
Kind of gesture, you. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye. Okay, so we'll move on. Okay, so moving on, we have the consent agenda, which is approval of minutes of both October and both November town council meetings.
There's 1 minute, 1 set of minutes, I was going to.
You know which one it is offhand, Crystal, before we waste our time looking for it?
Yeah, I don't. It was November 19th.
I'm sorry?
November 19th, the last
I
one.
believe it's November
Oh,
19th.
yeah, because I saw question mark. or
It's
something.
it's one of your motions, I gotta fill it.
Yeah, and I never went back and I didn't, I was gonna try to do that. and just
Yeah,
didn't get a chance.
it's just a motion, I gotta fill in, that's all, I just gotta listen to the recording. and fill it
So
in.
do we want to mark off November 19th and put that off for January?
Yeah, I think we can do everything except for.
Yeah.
Okay,
And then I made a couple of really minor changes, on the 11, 14, and 10. They were just spelling,
Yeah, I did.
something.
I think I caught some and put them
Everybody
in.
makes this good.
Well, there was some, a couple of paragraphs that the wording made no sense to me at all.
did you fix it?
No, I didn't
Left it?
know whether I was able to do that.
Yes, you may.
Because, like, if I change it, I change the color so she knows
Okay.
that was specifically me. It does track our edits on the side too, by the way. So,
So Val, did you need to wait another
You
month?
wanna wait?
We're not doing November 19th, so if it's on.
Oh, okay, no, this was the 14th.
There's a
The
14th.
14th
you're
was the work
concerned about?
meeting.
Yes, but if she's concerned about the 14th, we should put that one off.
Just for friends, this need to create a floodplain development permit. Our town has never required this. We need to have something that shows that a map, so people are aware of lots that are in the floodplain. That wording is, odd.
was that Rod speaking?
It doesn't say. And then, the wording regarding pro value was, Gene Kraft stated that the clerk has pulled all the bills from Pro Value Engineering and the pipes were not on our map. Pro Value stated that they created the mapping system to, it's their project, so it's theirs, not
Okay,
ours.
so that needs to be reworded.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll put off the so we'll just be looking at the 2 October meetings. At this point.
Okay, I move for approval of the consent agenda pertaining to the minutes of October 10th and minutes of October 15th, 2024. And tabling until next month, the November 14th and the November 19th minutes.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Uh,
Okay. All right. Review of checks and invoices, those were in at least the invoices for the printout of the checks and invoices for November, was this November?
October. The checks for October.
I printed off the ones for November, but October, of course, I've reviewed all of these already before I signed any of the checks, so.
October's
I was-
November, SharePoint.
I'm sorry?
October, November, SharePoint.
I'll just leave this up to you guys, I already reviewed everything when I signed the checks. So do you guys,
I had questions, but I'm trying to find for some reason, I can't put down, I'm not looking at my phone, but. But I think I have to ask them in person, it's on the salaries, and there was some.
You want to just ask me, offline?
Well, that, or I was just gonna call and ask either Candace or. So, but I can ask you later when I find it, for some reason I cannot find the email I had. Because Becky said, is that spreadsheet as well? And I was looking at all of them, and for some reason, I moved the spreadsheet into somewhere where, like, and.
All right.
So I can't, I either have to
Just
stay
asking.
or I can't approve it, so either way.
Well, we're
whatever
not
you guys
approving,
decide.
we're not approving it, it's just reviewing.
Okay,
All we're doing is reviewing and asking if you guys.
then I'll save it and I'll ask you and then
Okay. Okay.
later down, because there are some things.
Okay.
I was just curious as to like the salaries, general government expenses, it's only 24% of the budget, and we were at 42% of the fiscal year. Is there some reason why? the
Are you
salaries
looking at the actual budget worksheet? You're not looking at the checks and invoices?
No,
you're looking at the
I'm
budget
looking at
itself,
I'm looking at the
financial statement,
financial statement, and that would be
November,
This is November,
okay?
and it is
They're looking at Becky's.
No,
No, she doesn't do budget. I saw that today, I wondered,
I
I
was
know.
looking at it, the miscellaneous revenue is 10-36-100, and, wait. Salaries and wages, sorry, okay.
Yeah.
10-44-110, and in both, November and, October and November, the percentage was lower than the, to the percentage of the fiscal year last on salaries.
The amount in the budget column says 203,000, that needs to be changed.
Okay,
Because and then your percentage would be different.
I see.
And what happened is that, Becky and I realized that some of the salaries that should have put in water
Okay,
got put in general government.
okay,
And so I just needed to go back and adjust and take out of the budget in general government and move it over to the budget for water.
so the water
Too
might
much
be too high then, probably, some, maybe rec or something, okay, that's what I was looking at too, so,
That was,
okay.
that
That's
explains
excellent.
question.
Is that what's one of yours?
Well, yeah, but there's others, I just have to get my ducks in a row before I ask questions like that.
Well, she's at 39. And now there's,
So Becky's spreadsheet isn't included in this.
no,
No, she didn't,
Okay.
she gave me a new one today, but it's up in my office.
Okay, that's just for our review. And
But I thought I'd let you guys know when we get to the, well, I'll tell you when we get there, so I'm telling you now.
so we need to make a motion on this thing?
No, there's no, we don't, it's just a
Oh, she
review,
said-
okay.
just a review.
Okay.
I was looking at, trying to see if I can find water on here, Holland Road.
It's 50, it's like the last page.
Yeah, I thought I saw it. but
Page
now I
16
can't
is
find
water.
it. Yeah, you gotta go, there it is, 55. And I just didn't go find up 61. That's up 39. That's Rose.
But I will say this, when we put some money in the budget for salaries, we put money in the budget for salary for some employees that have not been hired.
Yeah,
So you're going to have more money in the budget than we're even spending because we didn't hire some of the people that we put money in the budget for. So there is that to keep in mind.
So for this moment, the fact that, I'm just clarifying, the fact that it's higher is, the fact we have an excess.
Yeah.
Yes,
But I did notice that I know that some of my questions are gonna be on the expenditure part, not the revenue part.
okay. So whenever you find your stuff, just come
I wonder if I have to sit down and send it to
just come and see me.
for sure, instead of this one.
Okay. Okay, so let's move on to reports then, if we're done talking about finances. I have something I'll bring up, but I'll bring it up when we're voting on the ordinance to amend the budget. But I have some other stuff I'll tell you. Okay, reports, planning commission chair, Ms. Darlene Pope. So yesterday I called Darlene and asked her a question of where we were on a certain ordinance, and I said, I know this is probably the 10th time I've asked this question. And she's probably like, how many times do I have to tell you this? But she was very nice. Thank you.
So did you all get this? Yeah, just one correction, I just noticed it today, Pete Snow was unable to make our. So he was not there, but Riker was extremely helpful. We reviewed both ordinances and we had an excellent explanation by Riker of how to reconcile the needs of the state code and any discrepancies between the two versions. We ended up recommending version B with the suggested changes by Riker. I listed some of the main ones there.
Are you talking about the subdivision ordinance?
Subdivision B, and then, we completed the removal of the resort zone. We completed our calendar. I encouraged people at open forum, they had comments, and that I touched base back with them and, highly encouraged them to come here during open forum to apprise you of their thoughts, because it seemed like it was more in your purview than our purview. And then,
And this was their thoughts on which one?
one was on Leeds and one was on, the newly paved road on Sheep Ridge.
Okay, right, that's,
Yeah.
send it to us.
Yeah. And then, we had public hearing not only on the two ordinances for subdivisions. We had an update to our e-bike code or our code to include e-bikes where we mentioned bicycles. And there were no comments and no public hearing on either of those. There was quite a few comments, letters, etc. on the zone change. And, you can read the summaries there. We will be having a public hearing in January, again, on the removal of lodging and the uses chart. So that everyone is properly notified. That should go relatively smoothly since it's the second public hearing. We will be also voting on those two things, since we've already had a robust discussion of them. We will be, examining our new, lighting orders in more detail and hope that you can, get back to you in February. And we hope to soon see our sign ordinance covered before. You all.
For us, for a vote.
Yeah, so we already have that one. I look forward to anything that you would like us to work on. Just make sure, you let me know.
I know there was some listed in, I don't remember if it was September or October. And I know we kind of discussed back and forth whether or not I should continue to liaison. And because we started adding to the bottom of our agendas, there was one that had, the changing of commercial property to include long-term rentals that we were gonna have Riker work on. Mr.
We
Lee
asked
asked
him
him
to
to us
work
and we
on-
all batted that around.
Oh, yeah.
And we decided that we needed to have Riker work on that.
Yes.
And, I haven't seen, Riker, did you know about that?
Do you remember us talking about that? About,
Specifically about long-term rentals?
To put
Yes.
to add it into our, long-term rentals into commercial, because we have a property owner who has some commercial property that he would like to turn into long-term rentals,
a
not
duplex.
short-term, long-term rentals.
He wanted
which is what
to
we're
build
looking
a
for.
duplex on a lot.
Yeah.
That he has.
Yes,
And, he wanted it to be long-term rentals, but we don't have such a thing in our code. And so we have talked about whether or not to, amend the commercial zone to allow duplexes.
right, and then we were gonna have Riker,
Or long-term rental only.
And after you created it, we were gonna have you present it to planning and zoning so that we could go through the process, but I didn't know if you ever got an email or any information
I
about.
wasn't sure about the long-term rental portion of it, but where we're already working on the neighborhood commercial zone, we can add that in. Because then we're amending the ordinance one time rather than.
Yeah, well, this one though is we kind of, when we discussed it that day, we asked Mr. Lacoste if he was willing to wait, and he was willing to wait. So I just wanna make sure that we don't
Forget about it.
Yeah, because it's something we could add right now to our existing, because it's a simple enough part, it's not gonna mess up any of the neighborhood commercial, because we can decide which group it goes in. But if our neighborhood commercial and splitting it's gonna take a long time, I feel like we should maybe find a way to add that in.
Yeah.
Without
I can look at that,
delaying it.
I do know the planning commission does have a draft of the neighborhood commercial.
That is on our,
And so with Mr. Lacoste's property, he lives just behind the George's Balcony One Restaurant, he lives up behind there.
It's in the middle of a residential section. Yeah.
It
so
is.
It's very odd. how-
It is weird how it got, but it's been commercial
It's been
forever,
for a long
and,
time.
and so the idea, it's a happy solution, because we don't want commercial development in that area, because it's just weird. But he wants to just put in long-term rentals, which makes sense.
Well,
So-
let's see what the neighborhood commercial.
Well, that's
zone-
what I'm asking is it that part of the neighborhood commercial?
I think we currently have two plexes.
How
Then-
far are we going with the neighborhood commercial?
Well, see,
Yeah, I'll need to, so as far as long-term rentals go, I'll look into that, cause there is some state code regarding, regarding long-term rentals, and so we might not need to add very much there as far as long-term rentals go. The part that would need to be added is the use of duplexes in that zone.
Yeah, yes, and
And we have included that in the neighborhood commercial zone, and that's something, the way that the neighborhood commercial ordinance is being drafted is that the neighborhood commercial zone is within, so it's changing your commercial zone to a commercial district, which has a standard commercial zone and a neighborhood commercial zone. So there would be certain uses and certain rules in that ordinance that would apply to both zones. And so we could change it in this ordinance and have it apply to both zones and include that use.
or the other thing is if you're like the neighborhood commercial, maybe just a zone change to go to the neighborhood commercial. So that's why I want to see what that looks like before we
Right,
decide
but-
whether we're gonna, if any amendments are necessary to our commercial.
right, it's just, I just seen that we have slowed down on several things, and it's ended up coming back to us, and we've ended up having to compromise. So this is just something I'd rather not keep delaying, because we're gonna add it to commercial anyway. And if our division, which I want, I love this idea. But if we take too long, I would rather just add it to our current commercial language. So that they don't have to wait, because it's a nice solution to a couple of our problems. It's not just helping Mr. Lacoste, it's also helping us with some housing that might be a little bit more affordable.
And the only thing that I would encourage the town to consider is that would mean that you're allowing a residential use in all of your commercial zones. Not just for that property, but for all commercial
Right.
properties within the town. And so there are things that the town will want to consider there, cause you're mixing those uses a little bit.
I think we already allow.
We already allow long-term, we allow
Single family
working
dwellings.
housing, they allow people to live in or behind their.
That's the limited commercial habitation, but an allowed use, a permitted use
Yeah.
is a single family home.
Single family
Yeah,
home.
It is
commercial
single
right now,
family.
right now,
And
it
I,
has been.
There are budget zones, it's just
Okay.
I just don't wanna delay if we can help that. Cause I understand that we're splitting it and I would love that, I want that to happen. So however, if we're gonna keep batting it and arguing about it, cause we like to.
Argue. So
But
you're
I
gonna,
don't wanna delay that.
okay, so Darlene needs to follow up on, making sure that we leave that.
Right.
Okay, all right, anything else?
just one discussion, I don't know where you are in, neighborhood commercial. but one of the things that I would think what I'd like to see is if you've got a business owner that can build a long-term rental, not short-term rental, long-term rental, with his property, so it can have a kind of like workforce, so he can have somebody work and live there at the same time, whether we need to make some changes to either the commercial or to the neighborhood commercial that adds ability to put 2 stories where the upper stories residential. I don't know where you are in that, just keep that in the back of your mind for processing. Cause I think you got 2 council people that would be interested in seeing what that looks like.
I feel like Tom's is a great, he segued us into that conversation. I feel like it definitely needs to be added.
Finally.
Commercial have.
We completed our town survey for the general plan. They are with Mr. Smedley. And he and Roger are analyzing those. And he will report to us at our January work meeting.
Okay, so I wanna verify what you guys were just saying, Paul. And Misty,
Just wanted to give my thoughts ahead of time, so I can keep.
but I wanna verify what you're saying, because right now we already have limited commercial habitation that is allowed in the commercial zone.
Correct. You have single family resident and then you have.
But,
It's the owner, proprietor, or
and
operator
in this
of the
particular
business.
case though, it's
But
not,
you guys are talking about allowing them to rent it to other people.
right, cause maybe they put in, this duplex was put in behind like the Ford, let's just use the Ford, cause it's the one I can think of, it's like. Not that they'll do this, but if they have the little duplex in the back of their thing, it would be allowed, and then they could let a worker live in one, and maybe a Zion worker live in another, it would be another form of affordable.
I just wanna make sure I.
Without going into massive apartment complexes,
I just wanna make sure I understood that
yeah,
we're talking about a rental to somebody who is not an employee of the store.
yeah,
Okay, all right. Okay,
did that make sense, Piper?
Yeah, so. Anyway, it sounds like 2 different things. One is for long-term rentals within commercial zones, and then the other was addressing, allowing some sort of residential accommodation attached to a business.
We already did,
Yes, so.
it would just be amending.
it would be
We have a section called limited commercial habitation. All we have to do is-
to let them
So-
rent it out to not just their employee, but to someone in town, a resident that lives here.
Cause the planning commission requested that we look at an ordinance that, they've titled live work, which would amend the, commercial habitation, conditional use and make it into a permitted use within commercial zones. So we are working on something that addresses that, but we can include, those where we're allowed to rent it out to someone who is not an employee in the draft, and then the town can discuss that.
But, well, that's something we'll have to look up closely, because I don't think we're on the same page.
We're a little different.
A little bit different, because if I understand where their planning commission's going, they're trying to tie that habitation with a workforce. And if you rent it out, you then create greater occupancy rate, but then you make it harder for workforce to live there. Because you're probably gonna get more renting than you would on a workforce employee. So I wanna think about that before I look at it. I like what I think I'm hearing. And with yours, I'm not too sure about. you know.
But there's also 2 different areas that you can go. It's the long term on the property that's not attached to a commercial business.
Okay,
You're talking duplexes
Yeah, we're on 2
or
things, yeah.
duplexes in,
And then yeah,
neighborhood commercial.
okay, so if we wanna talk more about this, we'll talk about it when we get to the non-action item section of the agenda. Since we still have a public hearing to get to.
We're just probably confused, Darlene. and,
Probably.
So just march on and we'll work it out when it gets up here.
I have my own question.
Okay, so not right now. So zoning administrator, so the zoning administrator's not here to give his report. He asked if he could this today, and I said yes, and Jay Lee is not here to do, a zoning, mosquito abatement report, so we will move on to open forum. So of our 5 members of the public who are here, do any of you have anything you want to say in open forum? Yes, okay.
And pictures. This is only because to me, it isn't just sharing. Because they're, in the news, you can use that one. But we need to be trying to figure out what someone's talking about and I can see it. Okay, this is, oh, I'm Carol Boissonne. And, this is the concern that, or the item that Darlene, one of the items that Darlene said that they asked us to come to you because it was more appropriate. And what it is we're concerned about what appears to be roadside parking that has been created during the recent paving of the Sheep Bridge Road from 9 to the bridge. And so the first map, number 1, just gives you like a place in time, you know, gives you a location of where we're situated. And just for reference, if you look at that map number 1, you'll see the river going through and there's green squiggly lines and the orange, and that's referred to on the bigger map.
I only got one map too.
Yeah, this is just giving you that to show you, it was just like, yours is like a
That's
zoom
an
in.
enlarged version of this.
Oh, okay, I see it, okay. Got it, okay, go on, go.
All right, so if you, from the Sheep Bridge area, it's all private property from there all the way about a mile downriver until you get to BLM land. That's just to get it in your head. The green squigglies are cliff and the orange is the off-road parking or big flat area just off the newly paved road. Okay. If you look at your zoom in, that's a little better. It's easier to see. Okay. So you might think, why do we have concern? But they flattened that all out, and I don't know why. I don't know if this may be it's part of a feature plan for a bike trail or something like that. I don't know. But it's what it does is it's caused obvious convenient parking on the side of the road by the bridge. And so what it does is we have people, the public go and jump the river, and that's fine, a false park, you know, you go do your thing. But then they come downstream and they end up on private property, and if you look at, I labeled who the private properties are there, including the Nature Conservancy, all of whom do not want people going through their property. And on top of that, to get out of, so first it's a nuisance, and secondly, it's a safety issue. Because in order to leave the river corridor, you need to hike up or climb up cliffs on private property, so we're concerned about the liability and safety issue. So then we do have signage and we ask people verbally, sometimes the signs get ripped down, sometimes people aren't so polite. And then, so besides the nuisance and the safety, if this doesn't have a future use, I don't know why it's there, so maybe they can make it not obviously parking. If it's not for parking, they may put in some sort of a deterrent, you know, either no parking signs or rocks or something, if that's not the intent of that space, and if it is, why is it there?
Okay, so are you saying that people are going down the river and they're getting out and they're climbing the cliffs anywhere along Taylor, Ingersoll, your property and Kendall property?
No,
Is that what you're saying?
yeah, no, Kendall, I just wanted, the names are on there, they mostly come up on Ingersoll and Boysenalt. or Ingersoll across the width on both sides. That's the main areas that they can access
From the river.
from the river,
And they're
yes.
getting down and doing what?
We're walking right back to their cars, because now their cars are conveniently parked there. So you go in, you go up to Falls Park, you play for a while, you mosey your way down the river. Rather than walking back upstream, you just climb up the cliffs and go back because it's really convenient to get to your car again. You see?
And the cars parked in this
On
orange.
orange, yeah.
And so I thought the road has got blockades off of Highway 9. I haven't even tried going down Sheep Ridge
Oh,
Road.
no, you can drive down there. It's
So
open.
they've still got cones and stuff.
Oh, it's pretty open. They've even got lines. Yeah, they striped it.
It's open, so why are there cones still there? I thought it was still blocked, because I was gonna call them and say, I thought we were gonna be done by Thanksgiving, why is it still blocked off? So, okay, so people are going down.
No, they haven't yet. I'm trying to be proactive here because it's not swim season.
Well, isn't one of the major concerns is that they put parking there?
That's her question, she said it looks like.
I called and talked to Public Works engineer on
The county,
a
county public works.
county road. And they indicated that they had put that there to allow parking. And that it's a public right of way and that people are allowed to park there. And that was their response to me saying that we didn't think it was a good thing to have parking there. Because their parking lot for the hikers is there, and so why did they need to flatten out this section of road which encourages parking? And as you have said, when people park there, they usually access the river, or they can. So I guess in their opinion, they have placed that flat spot there so that people can park. So that is the intention, yes.
Did they say what people were parking there for?
Well, but it's a lot of it is, so if you were driving down Sheep Ridge Road and there's a space you can park, you can walk and look at the river. Or you can go on the hike, you know, around on the north side of the river, basically, where they put in the new parking area and for people to walk on that trail. And but what happens is people go on private property and the county.
Oh, there's the
doesn't
sign there,
seem-
yes.
And the county doesn't seem to be that concerned.
So my question is-
People accessing private property.
Did we point out that that's within the city limits?
What,
Did you point out that that was within the city limits?
And they didn't.
I'm wondering if we
even
just put signage up that says no parking, if we have a thing that says no off-road, no off-site, I had it worded in the thing I'm writing, but it's like basically you can't park off the side of the road unless it says you can park there. Like there's gonna be
well, I
signs.
think maybe the
Are
town
we
should put no
controlling
parking.
it, or are they controlling it?
The
That's-
county took that role.
The county. took
So
it.
I know, but even that side that's within our, is
It's
that
in
their
the, it's in the
easement?
right of way.
Is that their whole easement there?
That's a whole reason, that's what I.
They have 100-foot easement there along.
So we
Sheep
can't put
Ridge Road.
signage up either.
Here, may I make a suggestion? That, we draft a resolution and pass it at the next meeting. That we will send to the county commissioners that we think the parking there is inappropriate. And list all the reasons for it and ask them to reconsider. Their decision to allow parking there. I mean, obviously, there's parking spots located elsewhere. It creates a conflict with pedestrians and traffic. It, creates, interference of, personal property of the neighbors that walk there. It becomes a safety issue. You pass it out to the town council and then deliver it to the county commission.
We could also put in there that it's going to conflict with the parking ordinance that we want to put
Yes.
in place. I've already, by the way, I don't know if you saw, I accidentally put the Springdale parking ordinance in our shared file. Cause I started creating an ordinance, so it's accidentally there, just.
Oh, good, I'll get the chance to look.
That's the one for the Springdale, so if you'll find it, it's accidentally there, but could we back that up in that resolution? Because I can just say we're backing it up because we're gonna not allow parking there, so
not
To
just
answer
that,
both
but
Mel's questions, we're working on it, we're working on something to address all of the parking issue we're gonna end up having.
So the big
And that will be
question,
included in it if we can.
thank you. Mayor, if we want to do that, maybe delegate one of us or yourself to draft it.
The resolution.
according to you, Paul.
Since I mean, I raised it, so
You raised it.
I probably have to take ownership of it, so
I agree with you.
I will draft
I like
it,
the
but I
idea.
will work with Carol and Skip on it also. And
The resolution, just the resolution.
Yeah.
So, just a thought, like Highway 9, towns are allowed to regulate parking on that, so why can't we regulate parking on a county road that isn't within our city limits?
That's a question I will have to ask Heath.
Yeah.
We have to visit it in the. Look up the message.
Yeah, and that's a question I have. If they took it over, did they took control of that whole right of way, what did they assume under that control? And I think they're gonna tell us that they can do anything they want. Being the county, and so what we have to do as a community, we have to come together, and maybe the citizens can show up and speak their piece of that resolution, and then we can include the testimony from the citizens along with our resolution and send it to the county, and hopefully that will be enough for them to rethink their decision on
It is a little sticky right there, because there is the Steeps Bridge itself is a historical site. Right down from it and the hiking, so that might have.
But if
some
people, is
reason.
it some reasoning for it, but if people are using if they're floating down the river and when you get out on across people's private property to get to their car, they're not.
No,
there to
that's,
see the bridge.
no, but that's, I mean, that might be their,
it. And I mean, obviously,
they shouldn't be crossing on.
Carol and Skip could put a no trespass on there and then call the sheriffs every time. And that becomes a headache, but I mean, it's better to just do away with it because the Nature Conservancy put in that parking lot for a
Exactly.
purpose.
Right.
And now it's defeating the purpose
So
of
the
the
parking
city.
lot, right, yeah.
Exactly.
And it's creating some unnecessary conflicts. We got enough problems with Sheep Ridge Road
Right.
and SR9, don't add to it.
No, and they shouldn't.
So
not
you
just
have
like
all
that.
that.
I will work on a draft and,
Over the holidays.
Include all of that.
All of that stuff.
Yes, that would be great.
I will have to review the
Recording.
recording to make sure I cover everything we talked about.
Okay, so we've had so far an hour and we've
Covered two things.
not, and we're just not getting the council comments. Okay. Council comments. Besides your resolution, Paul.
Well, since I started a different conversation with Desert Gardens, they had requested that digital portable radar in their neighborhood
Yeah.
at some point.
Is it still not been put over there?
I don't think so. Nobody said anything and it's still located right next to kind of where I go up to my house, so
It is still over there?
it's still over in Pocketville Road. And then, did you ask, Public Works if they can get to the Jake break by the end of the year? If not, we just want,
It's just ordering signs.
We've got the signs in.
we
We've got the
just said
signs
put
in.
them up. We've been short staffed. And so now that Eric's here, I'm hoping that we can get him in by the end of the year. I just don't know.
Well, I have a meeting with Nick first thing in the morning, so I'll go over there.
If possible, I don't know what their workload is, so that's up to you.
I know it's dead.
All of our
But
stuff.
the great, I mean, there's always priorities, but at some point this needs to get put up. That's all my complaining for the day.
Okay. April, anything from you?
Okay, speaking of Sheep Ridge Road, there's more problems there than we addressed. They had removed the fence along the Desert Rural property, which is on the east side of Sheep Ridge Road. And when they did that, all of the dirt bikes decided that they could go up over the berm of the Sheep Ridge Road and go onto that sand dune that's in there. And so it's on private property, which I don't know if the owners realize how much they're carrying out their private.
I wish I'd known this, I just had a phone call with them today.
So they had told the county asked them if they wanted the county to replace that fence. And Desert Pearl people said no. They didn't
But
want
they don't know that people are trespassing.
But I don't know that they're trespassing, so, and then it's disturbing the neighbors because of all the dirt bikes that are running around there now, creating dust storms and noise and everything, so. And then, so if we can, I don't know, maybe you can talk to Desert Patrol.
Yeah, like I
See
said,
if they wanna put a.
I wish I'd known
about it.
So like I said, I had a phone call with them at like 2:30 today.
And then the other thing on Sheep Ridge Road is the speed. They have a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit sign, but people are driving probably 15, 16 miles an hour. And so I don't know if we need to get the sheriff out there or if they need to.
Probably should,
Digital speed
sure.
sign, or if, you know, I mean, we need to put up speed bumps. I asked them in the beginning, before this project was even designed, to put in some speed.
That must be a different resolution.
I know, so anyway, it's not very safe because people ride bikes and walk, there are no bike paths, there's no pedestrian paths, and so, you know, driving at 50 miles an hour, so that's my complaint today.
I thought they were gonna put we were asking for sidewalks.
Well,
And for them
so,
to put parking where we were asking for sidewalks.
so I'm not sure that we ever asked for sidewalks, we asked for pedestrian walkways and bike paths. And they told me at the pre-construction meeting that they would be adding those when they do the second phase, which is cheaper.
So the pavement won't go to waste, then just extend it for bike path.
Right.
Okay. Misty, you have any comments? Yeah.
I do have a small question, it's a simple one.
Okay.
So that parking ordinance I'm working on, I need to know from you and other lawyers, is that a municipal code? Or is that a land use?
That would be municipal code, would it not?
Cause it's gonna be applied in more than one zone, more than one area.
The parking limitation that she's working on, would that be municipal code or land use
Cause I
code?
started in municipal, but I wasn't sure.
It probably drafted and then we'll take a look to see what the.
It's drafted as municipal, which.
I would
would
draft
have
it
to-
as municipal and then Keith can advise
And
us
so
to
we
whether.
have to go in ordinance form, so what form would I put it in?
Put it in municipal code.
Or would it be,
It would still be an ordinance.
it is not a land use ordinance?
Yeah, just
it's a
amend the
municipal
municipal.
ordinance.
Yes.
Municipal code under parking, yeah.
Okay,
Right, for example, right here, this one right here down the water,
yeah,
look how that is, that's a municipal code, that's not a land use code, but the ordinance is
so just
exactly the
this,
same.
just style exactly like that, okay. And then I'll put it in there for you guys to look at before we. See which one.
Valerie, anything?
No.
Okay.
Misty, it looks like maybe we can maybe slip it under the transportation code.
That's what I would think.
Chapter
Yeah,
10.
I just wanted to make sure when I
Title 10.
formatted it,
Yeah,
I hadn't decided where to put it, I was just writing it first.
yeah,
And then I wanted to decide,
yeah, because you're talking off-street parking.
right, yeah, cause I was like, the way I'm writing it, it's kind of a blanket. To cover the entire town.
The entire town, that's a good idea, yeah, that would transportation code.
Okay, so, I will let you guys know, you know, we voted to, pay to move our municipal code from what we have here to Unicode X. And, they said they're gonna have the draft for me to look at in January. And so it'll probably go into effect by February, March.
Good.
And land use will now be Title 16 under that, so all our codes are gonna be 16 point blah, 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 blah. So all of our codes will change.
So no longer amending food, there would be.
Where it's not, we're not gonna
First
be
in town
blue.
code.
In fact, there will be no blue book, it will be the land Title 16.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, all right, so now we're moving on to the public hearing. To accept public comment on these three items that we have on the for public hearing. So I need a motion to close the public meeting and go to a public hearing.
Move to close the public meeting and open the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay,
Yes.
all right, so the first one is, item one is a resolution, this is resolution R 2024-X, and that really is dash X. Not an XX, like we're gonna fill in a number, it really is resolution X. Enacting the second quarterly amendment of the adopted budget of Virgin Town, so, anybody in the audience have any questions or comments on the amendment to the budget? Okay, I'll take that as a no. So second is the fee for excess usage of water. This is required by our joiner to the Water Conservancy District, the regional water supply agreement requires us to adopt an excess water use fee. And this is if you go over 38,000 gallons, then the fee kicks in. And it is $1 per 1,000 gallons in excess of 38,000 gallons for homes that were built before 2023. And $10 per 1,000 gallons for homes that exceed 38,000 gallons a month. For homes built after 2023. Just letting you guys know, so any comments? Darlene?
So there is no fee for everybody? Cause I thought there was a discussion about this last month.
Last month, we adopted the water development surcharge fee.
Okay.
And that's $1.75 for everybody.
Got it.
This is for people who go over 38,000 gallons a month.
Thank you for that clarification.
And I knew last month when we were adopting that water development surcharge fee, I said there was this excess usage. I thought it was the excess usage fee. And Heath was like, no, it's a water development surcharge. And so then we go to the Water Conservancy District. I tell them we've adopted it. They looked at the ordinance and said, well, where's the excess usage fee? I knew there was excess usage. I knew it. So now we're covering that. Any other questions from the voice notes? No? Okay, then now we have the resolution where we're revising the capital improvements policy to add one more member of the public to our capital improvements committee. And any comments from the public on that? Okay,
I move that we close the public hearing and enter back into the public meeting portion of our meeting.
thank you. I was just checking to see if anybody who was online had like texted in a message, but nobody's texted anymore. Okay, so if somebody needs a second, all in favor? Aye.
Yes.
Okay. So, when we get here to this next section where the actions, the items that we're gonna motion and vote, I would like to, take things out of order from the way I have them on this agenda. And, what I would like to do, instead of addressing the subdivision ordinance and the excess usage of water, fee first, I wanna do these resolutions and get them out of the way, because they'll be really quick, and then we'll have the rest of the meeting to talk about these two ordinances.
Do you want
And to
these
get
two
to
ordinances after number 11?
Well, what I wanna do first, I wanna do number 11 first.
Okay,
That's the very first thing I would like to do.
okay. Well, yeah, see, I'll move that we, modify the agenda and move number 11 to number 1, and move number 1 and 2 after number 10.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Okay. So yes, I'm sorry, all in favor?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so item number 11 was the, as you guys know, when we, elected to join the Water Conservancy District, they gave us September 30th to, do a list of items. And we did not get them done by September 30th. And one of those was, that's outside our control because it was stuff that was up at the, waiting for the Lieutenant Governor's signature. And that was the, annexation in Path Creek. So I went to the Water Conservancy District in November, asked them to extend the deadline, and they did, and they've given us until December 31st. So they asked us to sign this new agreement, basically saying we have until December 31st to finish all the steps. And the only step left is the adoption of this excess water usage fee that's coming up. So I would like for us to, Keith told me to put this on the agenda for you guys just to ratify.
I moved that we ratify the mayor's signature on the extension of, amendment to the revised regional water supply agreement adding version of municipal. That's good.
I'll second.
All in favor? Okay, thank you much. Okay, then we will do, what I would like to do now is.
Budget amendment.
What? I know, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, so the next one will be resolution X, which is the budget amendment for the second quarter. That should be like the third one down, resolution X.
You don't have to dig it.
It should have to be very far. So I did the spreadsheet, as you guys saw. We have a spreadsheet here listing what it is that we are amending in the budget. And if you have any questions on what we have written here. And as you see, the total amount that we are amending the budget this quarter is $26,550. And Becky had wanted to put something on here, and I told her, no, this was really just for doing expenses. But she wanted you guys to know that the amount of interest income we've had from our PTIF accounts is probably in the neighborhood of $14,000 to $15,000, so we're really only adding basically like $11,000 to the budget because of the income we've received from the interest. But in the meantime, what I was going to tell you guys earlier is she's run the numbers so far for this first 5 months of the year, and our revenue exceeds our expenses by $500,000, and it's only been 5 months. So, imagine what's gonna be when we've got another 7 months, and we still have the season to start. So if we already exceed expenses, our revenue exceeds our expenses by $500,000.
Yeah, we should have Becky explain what each of the items are, so we have an idea.
I can tell you it's all in the sales tax, the revenue, the resort tax, and transient room tax, it's all the taxes.
Yeah, you can see that on her spreadsheet that she sent us, that's.
Yeah.
So she showed me that today, that I want to make sure that you guys knew that, we are doing really well.
I just have one small question. Now, with these new DL accounts that are being created, so wouldn't we just take money out of an account where that budget item was and move it, or do we actually just need to put more money into these new GL accounts?
Well, these are just like seed money. I mean, like one of them was like $1,500, and the other one was $1,300.
Right.
So it's just really just seed money to get them going.
So I noticed on the budget, when on the financials, those items or those DL accounts hadn't been funded yet, I guess. So they were
That's
zero,
what it
and then we had some money that we spent out of there, and then So it made it,
And that's why we were putting some money here, so that the next time she does her sheets, her spreadsheets for us, they're not gonna be grayed out anymore. And they're actually gonna have some funding in them. And then, just so you know, the very last account here where we have, this loan payment for the 1/3. What happened was the payment on the truck, this is the town truck. Was getting, it was not being recorded in the water department, for some reason it was being recorded elsewhere, so we were transferring money over here to balance it out, and there's only 2 payments left in the trust then, that the truck's paid off. And so we calculated just what we need to put in here for the next 2 months of, payment, so like where it says here, the final budget amount for this GL account will be $746. That is going to be 2 months worth of payments in this GL account. The truck, this payment is divided up among 3 different accounts: parks, roads, and water. And it was going strictly in parks and water, parks and roads, and for some reason, it was not we had some payments that were not being recorded against water, so we adjusted that. And there's only 2 payments left, and that truck is paid off.
so did we find out why the bank charges were?
No, she's still, and I had changed this, to say Becky is investigating this.
Okay,
So she's going down to the bank to talk to them and find out what is this? So we still don't have an answer yet. Okay. So. Any other questions? If not, I need a motion to approve this resolution.
I'll make the motion to approve resolution R 2024-X budget amendment, second quarter fiscal year 2024-2025.
I'll second. We will do a roll call since this involves money. So I'll start with April,
Yes.
Paul,
I,
Jean, yes, Misty,
Yes.
Val,
Yes.
okay. Resolution Y, we're gonna wait until we do the, ordinance. I don't wanna amend the fee schedule yet, until we do the ordinance setting the fee. Cause this is the fee schedule for the excess water use. This resolution Y is, amending the fee schedule to include the excess water use fee, but we haven't adopted that ordinance yet. So we will come back to that one. Understand?
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
we'll just take it. I'm worried with the moving.
okay. The next one is resolution Z. That is adopting the revision to the capital improvements policy, which is adding 1 additional member to the member of the public to the capital improvements committee, and which we just had a hearing on. Oh, there's a typo there. Policy, not policy in the title.
I move for approval of resolution 2024 as the adopted revision to CRP program policy. I'm assuming there was no discussion, sorry about jumping the gun.
That's okay, I didn't see any need to discuss it, it was just adding another member to the capital improvements committee, member of the public.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Yes.
Okay, aye. And then the next one is resolution R 2024 CC. This got out of order when we were numbering. And this is filling that brand new seat that we just amended and added to the capital improvements committee. And this is appointing Sarah Stratton to this is a 1-year term?
Term in the 2026, a year and a half.
Okay, yes,
So
yes,
if
yes,
we're
a year and a half.
supposed,
yeah.
we're supposed to do these in July after the fiscal year.
And then we're reappointing Randy to his seat that has now is expiring.
Yeah, for a year and a half.
So, Paul,
And then April expires in June, so,
this coming June.
so if we want to, we gotta make sure we reappoint her in July.
All right. That won't be a problem. Okay. So, Paul,
Hearing no discussion, I'm already making motion there. I agree for approving, resolution 2024 CC appointing and reappointing members to the capital improvements committee.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Resolution R 2024A is adopting our meeting schedule for 2025. And, so it changes our work meetings from the second Thursday of each month to the second Wednesday of each month, which will be the day after the, planning commission meetings. And then our regular meetings stay as the third Tuesday. That doesn't change.
And it looks like Wednesday, January 15th is the third Wednesday. But it hasn't asked for the quiet, that's why I was wondering. I didn't look at
Yeah,
it.
any changes are noted on an asterisk, it says that they will be held on the
Third
third
Wednesday of each month, but I will pull up the calendar right now and look.
with no regular meeting on Thursday.
In January,
Yes, I'll be the third one.
1, 2. Yeah, the third Wednesday, sorry, I was looking at Tuesdays. Yes, that's the third Wednesday. Then we've got October and
November.
November. Okay. Thursday. Even the Thursday.
Or the holiday on Tuesdays, the planning and zoning are not holding this meeting on Tuesday, they're holding on Wednesday.
Okay.
Thursday, Thursday.
All right. Okay. So the answer is yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I move approval of resolution R 2024-AA, setting the town council meeting schedule for 2025.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Yes.
Okay, next resolution is setting the meeting schedule for the planning commission. This is resolution BB. And this one is changing the work meetings to being
Regular meetings.
the work meetings are still on the Wednesday after our town council meetings. And the regular meetings are being moved to the second Tuesday of each month. So right before our work meeting on the, that we just voted on.
And I assume planning commission worked this out and it's all right with it.
Yeah, they already voted and approved on there.
I'll move for approval of resolution R 2024-BB, setting the planning commission, schedule for 2025.
I'll second.
Okay.
Please call that vote out.
I'm sorry, what?
Can you call the vote out?
You did ask all in favor. We had a motion and a second, so now we need.
Okay, all in favor of, resolution R 2024-BB? All in favor?
Yes.
Aye. You're not gonna stay for the subdivision discussion?
My mind's in the end.
You what? I'm sorry, what?
David.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Okay.
You can,
Okay.
or you can watch
I
the
just didn't-
video.
I didn't know if you had anything where you needed to contribute something, sorry.
No, we've talked.
Okay, so Riker could cover it all.
Yeah, we
Okay.
talked a lot.
Okay. Okay, the proposed rules of procedure.
Sorry, Roger, we could have did yours first and got rid of you, but we didn't, so.
So these are gonna, these I figured would go fast and then we've got time. We don't have to sit there and feel this pressure with all these other things to do. I only had one thing on the, rule of procedure that I wanted to check. Okay, never mind, the page is fixed. Okay. So, does anybody have any last changes to those rules of procedure that we went through, or is everybody good with that? For the rule, because the next thing is about the rules of procedure for the meeting.
Just so the rest of the council knows, I took the liberty of, taking the mess that we had strikeouts and underscores, and I put it in a procedure form so you can read it without any of that. I think I got all of them, but, if not, we can address those later.
I read through it, I didn't want to see.
Yeah, it's just a matter of,
It's only 5 pages, this is so much nicer than the ones we had before, it's like 15 to 20 pages long.
I feel like we were basically. We reviewed it, it's well done.
Yes, I think it is.
Reviewed it over and over and over again.
We have.
so I move for passage of resolution 2024 ED, for the, town council for the proceedings.
All in favor?
Yes.
Okay, and then we have resolution R 2024, which is the adoption of the emergency operations plan.
I looked at the plan, and what, very, the only thing I would have probably made a motion to change, but I don't know which figures would fit, was the population version. I think he used 2019, which is a little old, but that's all right.
Okay, where is,
Oh, it doesn't matter.
okay, it doesn't matter, we can amend it later.
We can, yeah, it's really just fluff anyway, but it's based on that. And then also, I would have probably amended the name of the valley. It was the Hurricane Valley Fire Department, but they switch between district and all the time themselves. So those were two just nitpicky things.
Okay,
It has to be doesn't this have to be redone every year, like mine has to be redone every year.
your emergency operations.
Yeah, so does this one have to be redone every year?
Yeah, it was soon,
To
so,
address changes.
but it's revisions
Yeah,
and Randy did a good job of putting this together. So I
it looks
moved
great, yeah.
I move for approval of resolution R 2024, approving, the emergency operations plan for the health, safety, and welfare of the residents of Brittle.
I'll second. All in favor?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So now we get to our 2 ordinances,
Now we have, our 2024
but that's gonna be after.
Oh, okay, got it.
We have to adopt the ordinance first.
She wanted to do
Got it.
that one there.
Yeah.
I remember
Okay, so. Subdivision ordinance. And let's let, Mr. Stigler talk to us about this.
So the ordinance that's before you went for the planning commission last week, we discussed it at length. There were two versions of the ordinance that were noticed to the public. One of those was the version that Sunrise provided, and the other one was, the version with the edits from the town. There were a few things in that draft that needed to be changed. So we discussed those in the meeting with the planning commission, and both those from the draft provided by Sunrise, and then amended the draft provided by the town's attorney to include the language that was needed there. Those changes, I believe Darlene's sent something to the council and addressed those. But I just wanted to see, does the council have any questions for me regarding this ordinance?
I do not, as long as we had our, we had the, blanks where we had given you the information that we wanted filled in, and, Darlene and I talked about the fact that there might be some changes to this in the future. They could just wait so that we can go ahead and adopt this by the end of the year as required by the state code. We can go ahead and have it adopted and then work on some of the other changes that she felt were necessary. And just looking at this, I can see that one of the things we will want to do when we look at this code, it's got references to Hulu and, which is about to go away. And it references sections of Hulu that once we move to Unicode next, those code changes, those are gonna be changed. So for example, if you look on page, section H, let's see, where it says enforcement violation and penalties. Under penalties, where it talks about section 2.26 of Hulu, I think that with this title 16, that what it's actually gonna be is 16.2.26. I think 2.26 will stay, it's just gonna have 16 put in front of it.
Can we rectify though that in a blanket ordinance that says
Everything's being done,
everything,
we're gonna have to do that.
references Hulu and any chapter references will be changed to fit.
Yes, but what I'm
So
saying,
then we
but
don't
what,
have to go through each ordinance, each chapter, we can just do it. in
Sounds like we all need to do it for the whole.
That's what I'm saying, the whole
Yeah.
book, the whole,
You could do that, yeah, it's a,
we have to do the blanket, we've done it before,
it's a codification ordinance,
right?
but
we can
what,
do that.
we will be doing that,
In the
and I'm
future.
talking about. When this ordinance gets put entered in Unicode, it's gonna reference Hulu, it's gonna reference a code section that doesn't exist any longer.
Should we get
And
this
so
one?
I'm just wondering if, when after Unicode next is adopted, if we go in and do an ordinance fixing this particular one. But you're saying we don't have to.
Well,
we're gonna do-
now I'm
Yeah, we do
confused
this.
about what you're saying, let me make sure if I
Okay.
understand, say it again.
Okay. If we were not updating Unicode next, then over the holidays, I would go into Unicode and I would
Right,
enter all of this information into Unicode. Once we go to Unicode next, we're gonna send this ordinance to Unicode and their people are gonna put this in, not us.
right,
And they're gonna reference Hulu and code sections that don't exist anymore. Because this is what's in the ordinance itself.
We're saying the same thing, but we're talking, you're asking if we need to do it on this particular one by itself first, and then do the blanket change? Cause I think we have.
If there, if they would be two separate things.
I think this, we can do a blanket change straight across the board.
yeah, because they're gonna need to do that codification ordinance across the board for all
I
of.
just remember when we did that, edit of Hulu,
I,
that we had a blanket change.
I know.
You kind, yeah, you left in the
I
middle,
left.
there was a blanket change of
Yeah.
all that, we kind of called it a housekeeping one, but the
Yes.
wording was a lot more accurate. It just
And-
said it was a blanket change to renumber,
And I think
reference.
Unicode is gonna probably give us an example of one, so.
Yeah, I'm sure.
All right,
And this would be no different than the ordinance we passed 4 months ago
Yeah.
through planning.
And we don't have to write in the.
Okay, so I just wanna make sure we weren't missing something that
Okay.
we were.
Or we can we add that to the end of this that says?
oh, no,
I
I,
don't think we need
we
to,
don't need to.
but,
Just-
but there are some other questions. and
Okay, what are your
issues. So
questions?
Yes.
My question, is, it looked like the deadlines, the dates in here, were they were shorter than what state law gives us because we're a community of 5,000 or less.
So are you looking at the most updated draft?
That's what I'm hoping,
Because the draft I sent over on Thursday should include the updated timelines, which would be,
was that the one that posted? Okay. Let me look here.
Reference your page number and then.
I was gonna say, tell us what page number you're looking at.
Well, they don't have page numbers on this piece, so
But then
that's what I was looking.
Give us a section where you would have put this, right, so we can find it.
can you hear me? So if you go under 18.10,
Take preliminary, okay,
then go down to A7.
okay, hold on. First of all, 18A7, you guys, that's on page 30.
I don't even.
Well, are you guys not looking in your binder on the, what was on the, the packet?
I printed it out and I made, notes on that, the one I'm looking
Okay,
at.
so you printed
We're
out,
all looking at the packet, okay,
okay, you put pages on, you put pages, okay. I,
page 30,
30, that helps.
okay.
So we're looking at the one.
And you said section 7,
Yes,
within 40
7.
business days.
Yeah, it talks about the 40 business days. So just to clarify, there are different timeframes throughout the ordinance. There is one that is for 10 business days. That's referencing, that's not in reference to the review cycle. There's another one that references 20 calendar days or just 20 days. That's also not the review cycle. That's for water conveyance facilities, and that's for the town to notify those if an application is within.
So we got the, yeah, because the one I looked at was 20 days, so.
Yeah, so that was one of the things that we discussed with the planning commission and made changes because per state code, where Virgin has less than 5,000 residents at this time, they allow for 40 business days for the application that includes the subdivision improvement plans, and 30 business days for the application that does not.
Right, instead of the 15, okay, good. And that's in there, that's what I was.
Okay, so that's been taken, that's been resolved in
Yeah.
all those dates. Okay.
And then the other one was whether we want to do that now or another time. When we go to administrative land
What
use,
page?
page 24 definition, administrative land use authority. Then you go through the code and we have so many different administrative land use authorities, we never know which one it's referring to. We have the attorney being the land use authority for waiver of the subdivision process. We have planning commission being the land use authority for boundary
Boundary line adjustments and.
But those are issues that are not subdivision, right? Other issues.
No, then in the subdivision preliminary plat, you have the word land use authority. For anybody that reads that, which one of those 4 is applying? So wouldn't it be easier just to specify in definitions, each of those for each of the categories? For example, if you go to, boundary line adjustment, page 26, Any adjustments to the parcel between two lots, parcel lots goes on under 1A, who shall act, you got the Virgin Planning Commission as planning land use authority there. So.
So it clearly says who is the
Anything
land use
under that,
authority on
okay.
that issue.
Division of land use. Okay, town attorney shall be the land use.
Where are you
Division.
looking at?
No, that's fine.
I don't know where you're looking at, what page you were on, where you're talking
I'm
about.
just- 27B1, so town attorney. And then, let's go, pre-application. Doesn't have that there. Preliminary plat. Have it all.
Might have marked it on it.
These were all the places where we had to go through where there were blank lines and we had to specify who's gonna be the land use authority for this, who's gonna be the land use authority for that. We had to go through that and specify this.
Well, I think the problem was is we're looking at, April and I are probably looking at too many different versions and we're trying to figure out.
So take your one you're looking at and try to put it side by side with the one that's in our
Okay.
packet.
Yeah.
Because that's the one that's the most accurate.
So number page 32. So you've got page 32 is dealing with preliminary plat, 1810.
Administrative land use authority shall be the Virgin Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay.
We did that, we agreed
Okay,
that
just
the
bear with me, I wanna make sure we got them all covered,
Okay.
because I wasn't convinced when I was trying to go through the other sections, and so far that's covered. So 1A, 2, 3, 4, it's all under administrative.
Are you still under preliminary or have you?
No, I'm
Final?
fine,
And final now, okay.
So, okay, it may be all right, I'll.
But there is a place in here where we say who, I thought we said the final plat was going to be the development review committee.
Yeah.
I thought we said that's who was gonna be the.
Yeah, and that's included in here.
That's included.
Your administrative land use authority.
It's on page 38.
Very, holy cow, that's a long.
Including a final plan application review. Define the development review committee is the town's administrative land use authority.
Where are you?
Page 38.
So F1, yes.
So, yeah, on G1, once all the requirements have been met, the administrative land use authority has approved the final plat. So that would be the DOC. Okay. What else was there?
How is this ordinance so many pages? I thought the one, the template that came from the state was like half of this.
No, I mean, the document I sent over is 29 pages total. Is yours, when you reference page 38, is that your entire packet, is that what those page numbers are?
No, these are the page numbers that are on the packet that is in, that came from our agenda needs management program. So we're not looking at the page numbers you had, the page numbers are agenda meeting management plan assigned to
So
software assigned.
So
to
then we come down and we do the maintenance plan. Who's the administrative land use authority for the maintenance? Page 44.
What's the section on that?
18.16. Section G, page 44.
One, yeah, says the maintenance plan. The plan shall be approved by the Virgin Administrative Land Use Authority. So who is that in this case? Is that planning and zoning?
Well, DRC is fine,
Yeah, this
Well,
is under
prior to
ownership
final.
and maintenance of open space and common facilities. I don't believe that question was one that was the blank we had to fill in,
So-
but we were reviewing.
Yeah, so some of these were changed after Sunrise provided the draft to, like, so the town's attorney's gone through and made some of these amendments to reference administrative land use authority throughout the ordinance. This was the section that.
So who's the question
Okay, here's-
is, who's that?
Okay, here's what it is. If you look at number one, right under that G1. The plan shall be approved by the Virgin Administrative Land Use Authority prior to final plat approval,
So who
which
is-
means that's the Planning and Zoning Commission. Because final plat approval comes from the DRC. This is prior to final plat approval.
So
It's not the DRC. It's got
I
to
don't
play.
think it's clear.
Okay.
So. Because it's
Why
not
would it be the attorney?
maintenance plans, well, it would be planning and zoning, because it's dealing with subdivision.
It's reviewing their, who's
Well-
the ownership and maintenance of open space. And it's before final plat approval.
So
And
it's,
before final plat approval, the land use authority is a planning commission.
and it's on the final plat, if there's, before it can be submitted for.
And an easy way to take care of this would just be to include the maintenance plan as one of the submittal requirements for preliminary plat.
Okay.
Which doesn't have to be done in the ordinance because we've taken the submittal requirements and placed them in a checklist outside of the
Okay,
ordinance.
yeah, if we do that, then that answers my concern.
On page 45, it also talks about the management plan can be amended by the owner, identified under section 18.6, with the approval of the Virgin Land Use Authority. So that's not clear if that the land use authority.
Well, the management plan, that's what we just talked about.
No, we talked about the maintenance
18.16.
plan.
Oh, that's 18.17. The maintenance plan is 18.17.
Aren't these part of the submittal process?
Well, it's talking about amending it.
Part of the maintenance. Management plan.
It's under the management.
Yeah, it's under maintenance plan,
Okay, wait a
and
minute.
it's called management plans can be amended.
Charlie's online for any questions if you want me to let her talk.
Hold on.
And I would think that where that's covered under the maintenance plan section, that it would be referring to the same.
The same thing.
Yeah, the same administrative land use authority.
I just wanna make sure we're on the same page.
Should we put in parentheses, planning commission? In the ones where you have questions, should we put in parentheses after Virgin Land Use Authority, should we put in parentheses who specifically we're talking about? And then it's not a question in the future when we actually get to a subdivision.
As long as we identify them somewhere for the public, so.
So we could go back to all the ones that you had questions on
I think,
and put parentheses after.
I
them,
think
say
they're
planning
all
commission.
answered because they're all under that.
That would be all of them are, for example, if you go into the HOA.
Oh, yeah.
What page is that?
So when's the? Is that on final plat or throwing in any plat? Cause that's where, that's the plan authority that would do it.
Oh, that's on page 42.
On page 42. Yeah, that's under ownership and maintenance of open space. E is homeowners association.
So then it says on the next page, 43, on H. So their bylaws and everything, it just says will not take effect unless approved by the Virgin Land Use Authority. Was that planning and zoning?
I believe at this point, we're talking planning and zoning, and this is where one of what Riker was just saying is he would make this part of the submittal for preliminary plat.
Correct. I think the CCNRs are required at the final plat level, not the preliminary plat
Cause
level.
the attorney approves those.
Correct, so the attorney would be reviewing that and then prior to the DRC issuing their approval.
So then, so for example, what I was thinking to talk about, so on H, on page 43, that, where we were just about the, on H, where it says, unless approved by the Virgin Land Use Authority, I would say before the semicolon, we would put, open parentheses, Virgin Town Attorney, close parentheses. And so we would do something like that everywhere where we're questioning who exactly is the Virgin Land Use Authority. We could put in parentheses after that word, who it is.
I like that,
And then there's no question.
because when like, we're looking at it, we've read a certain spot, we get that it's part of it.
But you see a lot of people.
And some of it's shuffled in where the preliminary plot's up here, but it's back here.
Yes.
So I feel like maybe the fence
What do we
might
do?
For this goals, yeah.
for laymen, for like all of us that don't, like, I'm not educated on subdivision, however.
And another thing that could be done, though we've done with other communities, you need to do this after the fact, but we could, this is the town, this is just, changing references to administrative land use authority that are outside of preliminary plat could be changed simply to land use authority. We've done that with other communities, so administrative land use authority only pertains to preliminary plat. Because the planning commission is included under the definition of administrative land use authority, but not allowed to be the approving entity on the final plat. As far as the other things like the boundary line adjustment and things like that, those are outside the scope of what Sunrise Engineering has been doing. And so I would suggest asking the attorney what the intent is there and what people should be.
Yeah, and those already covered,
Mhm.
and she already defined those.
Okay.
So I think it was just a maintenance plan, management plan.
Okay.
HOA.
All right, so the maintenance plan, that was 18.16.
Page was.
42. Okay, so we have H, which was on page 43. And then also there was something on page 44.
G1.
Okay, so both of those, we would have open parentheses, planning commission, close parentheses. So those 2 points.
1816 B. I
H,
is not, or H is planning, or is VTA, Virgin Town Attorney.
oh, you're right, that's town attorney. That's not the planning commission, that's the town.
And then the maintenance plan is on page 44, and that's 1816 G
One.
1. And that's gonna be P, planning and zoning, and then on 1816 G.
It's G2C.
G2C, thank you. For the planning and zoning.
So just a question in general, once like under preliminary plat, we outlined that that is the planning and zoning. is-
Uh-huh.
And so anything within that section that refers to preliminary plat, well, and
Or
or
land use authority.
administrative land use authority, that means that that is planning and zoning.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. Because in our definition section, it clearly says administrative land use authority cannot be any town council or any member thereof.
And that's why you were planning on moving that other section into the preliminary plat.
The submissions. You said it had to be one of the submittals in order.
Correct, yeah, so it's on the checklist that's been provided, we referenced the management plan, but we just changed that to the maintenance. And we include both.
So where's this checklist that you're talking about?
So that was sent over with our original draft,
But it's not part of this.
it's all resent that over to the town,
Okay, so it's not.
but
part
it
of this.
hasn't changed since the. And
They were clear to us.
Okay, but I just meant it's not part of the actual subdivision ordinance.
no, it's separate, and the intent there is that the town could adopt that as a policy or resolution, so that it is more easily amended by the town, should they see any additional requirements necessary.
Right, we should adopt this next month.
Yeah, next month by resolution as a town policy.
Yeah, I'll resend it to the town, and I'll make the these changes by adding those items.
Okay, I was gonna
under
ask,
those
so you
sections.
need to,
I got the,
so we can go ahead tonight and approve this with this following changes, and then you'll finalize the paperwork and send it to us.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you that, the Unicode next, I won't be sending any ordinances to them to do anything with till probably February. So that's, this is not gonna get put online anywhere until then.
yeah, I'll have the revised ordinance back to them tomorrow.
Hold up on, we may need to put it on our website because I think statute requires us to do.
Well,
so.
we can put it on as an ordinance, but it's not gonna go in Unicode because they told me not to amend.
No,
the
that's
single
fine.
line.
That's fine, we just, state law just requires to have the checklist in the ordinance on
The town website.
the town website.
Or available to applicants.
Yeah, so, as long as we have a link on the website. I
Yeah,
think
okay,
we'll-
that we can do. I just meant it's not gonna go on.
Right, I understand.
All right,
I have a couple other comments.
okay, what are your other
So
comments?
on page 24,
Okay,
under review cycle 3, and number 1, it references this 18.12A
three,
parentheses 3. I don't believe that exists.
So let me find where we're at, you said,
page 24 of our, this is for you, what you sent us. This would be 1, 2, 3, 4th page.
Under review cycle,
A3 review cycle means the occurrence of, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4.
the references 1874 and 1812.
1810 and 1812.
I think it's 18.12A3, I don't find it.
Up to 10, 9.
No, it isn't.
Oh, you're talking about park.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see down here, yeah.
1812 is on page what?
She's looking for point number 3.
So you
And
should,
there's not
I
any, there's
believe
not.
it's supposed to be 1812, 23,
B3?
so let me double check.
Oh.
Because it's referencing when the application is determined.
1806.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it should be 1812, 83.
Okay, so B, I mean, you said A4, that 1810, that one exists?
No, that one's fine.
It's just the 1812. Okay, so that needs to be a B. Okay, what's your other one?
And just throughout this code, or this ordinance, I noticed that sometimes we call out Utah State Code with a number. Other times we just call Utah Code with a number, and there are a couple places where we didn't say Utah Code at all, it's just a number.
Okay.
So I think we should be consistent and always call that Utah State Code. I guess that's a little.
Well, even if you look at page 22, page 2 of your ordinance where it says statutory authorization. This ordinance is adopted pursuant to the authority granted by Title 10, Chapter 9A of the, and you would say Utah State Code.
Yeah,
And it just says Utah Code.
right,
You would add one state.
right, just to make them all consistent, I
Yeah.
think, and there were.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
I didn't have any Utah or any state code or
Yes,
anything,
I-
just a number.
So basically, all you have to do is go through and search Utah Code and replace with Utah State Code. Do a search and replace.
And the other thing was, oh, all right, on page 30, which is under, I don't know what page that would be for you, Director, but
It would probably,
under the preliminary plat. Okay, it's number 6B, where you have the water conveyance facility. Basically,
so you know where we are?
Sorry, I was just finishing taking my notes. Under preliminary plat.
1810,
Page 30. yeah.
he doesn't have the same numbers.
Oh, he doesn't.
no, so that's why I described it.
1810A, and then 6.
Under the water conveyance facility.
Right, yes, C. So we already have a definition of water conveyance. This looks like a definition of water conveyance. And we already have a definition of water conveyance in the definitions.
So B is the
Do we
definition.
want to have that in there? Do we need to have that in the like?
We can remove that one, the definition section that includes water conveyance facility and administrative land use authority, those were added by the attorney, so
Oh, okay.
that's why it's, might be repetitive in some spots, but we can remove that definition there because it is already stated.
I would remove it.
Just leave it?
I would remove it.
Oh, remove it, yeah, okay.
Instead of it taking up space, being there twice. Any of you object to that?
We were trying to keep definitions out of the center of our ordinance.
Yes, we're trying to keep them all in section
Yeah.
definition.
That may be stated again under final plat. No, it was removed under final.
Yeah, of course, we're in, yeah.
So we're good there.
Then there's some formatting things, I don't know if that's important, but they have some places where the lines were, they were double spaced everywhere except.
We'll fix that.
Unicode will reformat.
Yes,
it.
it'll get fixed. It'll get fixed.
I think that was all.
That's just-
Yeah. It was a lot.
Well done, Rick.
Thank you.
Yeah. Really looks good now, we've got everything, it was kind of difficult to go from A to B and see what was happening. I know, I tried to read through both of them kind of at the same time,
Yeah.
and then get this all put on one paper, it's one ordinance.
I killed a couple of trees just.
Amazing though, how much more clear this is, even though it seems like a jumble, than what we have.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing. Thank you.
I read that subdivision ordinance that we had before, every single word more than once, and was like, okay, oh, okay, now I get it. Then the next time you did it, I was like, what? Okay. So, a motion, are we ready? We've reviewed everything? Okay,
Did everybody write those changes?
So with the motion, will we have to make these changes in the motion, or?
Yeah,
I know, that's why I was trying to
and they're not
decide. if we
substantial
could
things,
just
they're
say
more
this-
housekeeping changes. Could we just say approved with the mentioned housekeeping changes on page 43 through 45, 24, 22, and 30?
I can take a stab at the motion, yeah. I'm all right, I'm gonna vote against the ordinance, not because it's not drafted good, not because it's there. I do wanna vote against it to make a statement
Okay,
against our state legislature, so I don't wanna have 100% approval on it. If it was down to 3, I would probably approve it because we need to. approve
yeah,
it.
since there's 5 of us here.
But I'll make that statement now, just for the record, I'm not gonna vote against this. Only because I don't like the state being paternalistic to the point of dictating what it thinks it needs for Virgin, Utah. And a one cookie size subdivision applies to everybody. I think they should have left it up to the local communities to make that decision. And they could have did it in a different way than just this mandate. And to specifically mandate who can and can't be a land use authority kind of takes away a lot from elected officials that should be involved in what's very critical to the communities in Utah, especially the small communities, which is planning and zoning. That is so important to small communities, and you're just taking the people's vote away by eliminating town council members' involvement as land use authority, if that's what they decided for the community. So there's my statement, that's why I'm gonna be voting no on this particular one, so they don't have 100%, nobody's gonna really care, but I have to do that.
Okay,
But you can still make the motion.
I can still make the motion, I still will make the motion. Normally, people that do a motion shouldn't be voting against it, but I've done it before, but I don't say at the time that I'm gonna do so. So I move for approval
This is 24.
ordinance 2024-21,
No, this is 2020.
2020.
I mean, this is 2024-20.
Well, that's right, so, that's because I got the wrong version and went to F. 2024-20, ordinance amending and the wrong. Ordinance amend, let me get that. I'm having trouble with my eyes, right?
Oh, okay.
That's why. So, let's get that here. Ordinance 24-20, subdivision ordinance amending and restating entirely chapter 18 of Hulu with the following changes. Uh, amending a change to 18.16 B. 18.16, wasn't it?
Yes, it was
18.16 B, small h, to add Virgin Town attorney after, the administrative land use authority language. And then 18.16.g, parens 1, I think it's parens, right? Parens 1, parens, adding planning and zoning commission after the language administrative land use authority. And then 18.16.g to c after the language, administrative land use authority, parens planning and zoning commission parens. And then, eliminating section.
No, it was 18.10.
And then eliminating, 18.10 A, A6B. Eliminating that paragraph, and then throughout, and making, corrected changes to where references Utah code, all those will be reference Utah state code.
Yes.
And then this one.
Hopefully it's not going to be, and then amending 18.04 definitions, A 1804 A3.1, and changing the language from 1812 A parens 3 to 1812 B parens 3.
You can say that last thing, sorry,
Pardon me?
repeat that last one one more time,
The whole thing?
just the very last.
So it's changing, it's under 1804 A3.1, and changing the last reference to section 18.12 A parens 3 to, it's gonna be changed to 18.12 B parens 3 parens. I get everybody's.
I think that's a.
Thank you for everybody's assist on that.
Okay, I'll second that. Just about to say that. All in favor? Aye.
Yes.
No,
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
So 4-1.
Do you want to do a roll call vote on that?
Sure, we can do a roll call.
Subdivision ordinance line.
It doesn't really, but we'll do that. Just to make it safe so Paul can be clear. April,
I,
Paul,
no,
Jean, yes, Misty,
Yes.
Valerie.
yes. And I think, Paul deserves a standing ovation for that.
For that. Well, we had a great motion. Okay,
Keep track.
so we've got one issue left, and this is the water, excess water use fee. And this requires both an ordinance and a resolution to be passed in order to adopt this fee. So, Paul and April and I have discussed some,
Not all of them.
huh?
Not all of them.
Oh, no, separate phone calls, sorry. We had separate phone calls, yesterday and today discussing, an error that I made when I did the ordinance and the resolution both. And how to fix that, and then Paul also has issues in the title of the ordinance. So first, before we go on to my mistakes that I made, how about, Paul, you talk about what you want to change in the title of this ordinance?
Yeah, I should have worked on that change. My concern with the title is that we're adding a new, section to the municipal code, but in reference, it is referenced,
You didn't like.
Title 7, Chapter 4, Section 030, and we're not changing, I don't want us to eliminate that by accident. So I want to make it clear that really it should be an ordinance
Amending, and then
amending and then cross
out and restating,
and restating
okay?
all the way to, all the way to the word and, so we keep going all the way, so it'd be an ordinance amending, no. Amending Title 7 by creating section 090 of chapter 4.
No,
So an ordinance amending
let me pull up the code. Let me look at it.
Title 7 by creating creating a new section 090 of chapter 4,
Okay, hold on.
water services.
Okay. We can do that for now, we may have to go back and amend that section 030, because it is, oh. We completely eliminated that last time, we completely restated 030 last one. Okay, I agree with you,
Yeah.
Okay, I agree with you.
Okay, so
go all the way to creating section 90. We're deleting
You have to
everything.
work by.
So you come through in ordinance amending, you delete all the language from N to N,
Okay,
then you add the word Title 7 by creating, and then insert a new, and then it reads a new section 090 of chapter 4, and the rest is the same, except you delete Title 7.
okay,
And then I think April had a question down here on. If there's something I need to tell the whereas.
So, the second to the last whereas. And it says. That we. To the current amount of $10 for each 1,000 gallons of water. For the. So I'm confused about this whole ordinance, according to the
it's really,
Conservancy website. It has to do with when people hooked up. right?
okay, so I should have said this before we got started. I printed off for everybody the two resolutions that the attorney for the Water Conservancy District sent to me and said, this is how we're supposed to, this is what we should use as we try to do our ordinance and our resolution. So I gave everybody a copy of resolution for 2021 and resolution for 2022. Resolution for 2021, which is a little short one, this page, this little short resolution, was a $1 excess water surcharge for homes that existed at that time, and this was in 2021. And they had $1 per 1,000 gallons that exceeded this threshold, and here's the chart that had the meter sizes on it. Okay. Then a year later, and they did this in December 2021. A year later, in December 2022, they adopted another resolution dealing with excess water use. And this one applied to homes after January 1, 2023. And those homes got charged $10 per 1,000 gallons that exceeded the exact same thresholds that they had the year before for the homes that already existed. So when I did the ordinance, I looked at the 2021 resolution that had this chart in it, and I put it in the ordinance. And then I went to the resolution from 2022 and put those two charts in here. And those went into the resolution. I never went to check to see what the Water Conservancy District website said, because I was sent these two ordinances by the attorney to follow these. Now, if you go to the website, which is what has got, April, concern, is that the website, I see what they did is they took these two and combined them into a chart. And I have 3 separate charts, and they took the information from the $1 for the pre-existing homes, and they added it into this chart on their website, and it has 3 sections. Instead of the way I have it, it has another row under here. And so they have a charge of $10 excess water usage over this chart that they have laid out here, what the chart is, how much per month. $10 for homes that were built after January 1st, 2023. And for homes that existed before January 1st, 2023, the charge is $1. So what I did, the initial ordinance I prepared said $1 for all of this. I totally missed that the second resolution increased the fee to $10 for homes after January 2023. So my initial ordinance that I did said $1 for excess water use. I have since, after April called me, I redid the ordinance and made it say $10 for 1,000 gallons for the excess. Now, what I talked to the Water Conservancy District today and asked them about the $1 and the $10, and what I was told is they want us to, by golly, adopt the $10 excess water fee before the end of this year. They want it in. They don't care about the $1. They said, go back after January, amend the ordinance and add the $1, but by God, we want the $10 before the end of the year. So they can start charging it January 1st. I said, okay. So they want it done. So what Paul and I talked about today was whether or not we need to do a new public hearing. Because the ordinance that was posted on the website with the public hearing notice was for $1 per 1,000 gallons. And it's actually supposed to say $10 per 1,000 gallons. And so Paul and I were discussing whether or not we need to do a new public hearing. And you were concluding that you think maybe we don't.
I don't think we do, because we didn't need the public hearing to begin with, because we're amending the municipal code. But I know Keith advised us
To do it.
to do it. We have done it, although it's not consistent with what we're doing, so I'd say we can do one or two things. We can do another new public hearing on
December 30th.
December 30th, or we could just pass this ordinance now. We comply with conservancy, and then if we still need to do a public hearing and ratify, we can do it later.
Okay, I wondered about that too, of whether we can do another public hearing.
But I don't think
Not
we
in
need,
motion. But if you don't think we need one, then I don't.
it's.
We do it in the
and
motion.
He said we didn't need one, but he would advise us to do it. But we did the notice wrong. I don't think we need to go through another public hearing.
Okay. All right.
Ground in writing.
Because
I know, but it's just the difference between $1 and $10.
But what we have, but the,
For some of these people.
but they had noticed that we were gonna amend the code,
And
so.
nobody showed, yeah, okay. So I know, it's,
And I hate to argue for less public notice, everybody knows me, I always argue for more. But since we're under a time gun and this is pursuant to a contract, for us, I think we can go ahead and then get it passed, and then if we need some corrective action, we can take it.
so the other thing you and I talked about was that right now, Virgin still has on our books that we charge an overage of $2.38 per 1,000 gallons over the first 15,000 gallons a month. We already have that on the books. We've charged that for years. Now we're charging another excess use fee, overage fee. So we were discussing that after we get this passed, the next year, we have to go back and reassess the whole water rate structure. And potentially eliminate this overage fee that we've been charging. And we have to decide what we're gonna do.
Wait,
So,
so what was that over fee for in the first place, that $2? What?
$2.38 per 1,000 gallons over the first 15,000
So
gallons.
did the town use that for some reason, or did it go right to to the conservancy district?
Some of it did because, we get the water bill from the Water Conservancy District that says, you use this many thousand gallons and here's your fee. And so we write a check and
We
we
never charged our residents that, because we don't charge them.
what?
So we've been
It's been
subsidizing.
on our. Then it was not set up right in Cassell so if I understand what you're saying is, after this got passed, because this got passed when I was on town council, this was like 2014, 10 years ago. So you're saying basically Cassell never got amended to include this overage fee?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so then we've never charged it then. Okay,
I mean, I do the water bill, but in 5 years and never,
never ever charged that.
yeah.
But we should just go ahead and amend the next couple of months, all three, all and just make sure it's a resolution.
I
Be thankful.
have a solution to our sure we shouldn't be on the public hearing. We'll just do we can do a public hearing when we have $1.75 that it's supposed to add. And put this with it.
I'm sorry, say that again?
No, we're past that.
We passed the dollars and
We did.
last month.
Yes.
You said that, then what was the thing about the $10 that we're waiting for to do next month?
The notice was for $1 and we're really doing $10.
So they don't care.
So what happens is, we've got two
They
different
don't
fees.
care if we want
There's-
public hearing or not.
There's two different fees for excess use. It all depends on when your house is built.
Yeah, right,
$1, $10.
yeah.
When I post this, prepared this ordinance, and we posted it with the public hearing notice,
You put it on,
I put $1.
yeah,
So,
yes,
no matter what.
right.
I did not
That I
break it down to say $1 for these houses and $10 for these houses. So now we're going to amend this ordinance to say it's $10. And my initial note is gonna be $1. And so this is why we were discussing if we need a new public hearing. Because that goes up by $9 per 1,000 gallons based on what I understood. But as Paul was saying is, well, we posted that we were gonna change the water schedule, the fee schedule for the water.
Well, that I understand.
Yeah,
But at the beginning of this conversation, you said that the Water Conservatory District said they didn't,
what they said
we
was,
could delay something, but we had to do the $10.
yes, so he said they really, really, really want the fee of the $10 for the homes built after 2023. They really want that passed by December 31st. The $1 fee, we could go back and, do another ordinance adding that January or February.
That's what I'm saying. This is where I'm coming in with this.
Just-
So
just
I
add that to
totally
it.
understood that other part, but this, I'm saying to get our public hearing, we just put this with it. And just say,
Oh, okay,
you know what I mean?
and that's
And
kind of
it's
what you're saying is to
Giving
just
the
ratify
public a
this.
chance to look at it and comment.
And I have to wonder too, is if we would have had a bigger reaction.
If it
was
was
$10.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying just add it with it, you just say add this. Please feel free to comment, even though we can't change it.
And ratify,
Give
that's
them a
what,
chance to say what they wanna say about it.
this is where Paul is saying, just ratify what we had done.
That's what I'm saying, though, just include this on the one word for the dollar later.
Or we can just hold the public hearing and leave it at that.
So-
Yeah, we could just run.
So
Thank for making it too complicated.
So you understand that the $10 is only for
homes after,
homes
right,
after, okay.
Right.
2023.
So
Yes.
there's not going to be as many people.
So-
Right, so that's why I'm saying just add it to it.
So what- So the other thing that Paul and I talked about today was when, I proposed this, when I prepared this ordinance, I had called the attorney for the Water Conservancy District, or I sent an email to the Water Conservancy District and CC'd Eve on it, and said, I don't think it's right that we are assessing this to homes, built after, before January 1, 2025, because we're just now adopting this, and this should only apply to homes after that. I said, however, we sure had a ton of water connections from January of 2023 to now. The amount of water connections that we have go in. And so what Paul had proposed is that we make this effective for homes connections after January 1st, 2023. But that we cannot go back and reassess any water usage from 2023 to 2025. And it can only be assessed going forward, even if it includes homes after 2023, which I could agree with that. So I just wonder where we would say that in this ordinance.
Maybe just no retroactive fees would apply between January 1st.
Between January 2023 and January 1st, 2025, that you couldn't go back and reassess water usage. Somewhere we need to say that in the now therefore section.
Yeah,
It's
but
all
she
this
never
is-
got a response back from that attorney to say is that.
Well, what she wrote back and said that she had no problem with the 2025, she just, needed to take it to court.
Well,
And then he said he agreed with the 2025.
we'll just put 2025 in, and if they don't like it, we'll amend our own.
No. I'm saying this should apply to homes after, water connections after January 1st, 2023, because remember, one of the things
Go back
is.
and recharge them for what's already happened.
Correct. And because they need to have billing that applies across the board, they're not gonna make separate billing for Virgin. Billing needs to be the same after 1/1/23. I just wanna say, we can't go back, that there will be no retroactive fees charged from any water usage.
We're not gonna go back and look at their water bills from
So
2024.
2023 to 2021, 1/23 to
Well,
2030.
there'll be no retroactive fees, charged prior to the passage of this ordinance.
And where would you put that, where
We're
you
just going to do section under section,
Make section 2 under section
section
1.
2?
section 2, and then in section, the next
Two
one,
would be
2, 3, 4,
5. Okay. I'm gonna have to type this up,
Actually-
tomorrow and email it over to the attorney, both the two different people at the Bar Association.
Paul, the way that section one reads, it says as follows. So should we make that section two and make the new statement section one?
Well, we haven't created the fee yet. I think it has to come out when we create the fee.
Okay.
We'll just do section two and then the section.
Gotcha.
So now I want to go back and pull up what April was concerned about on the Water Conservancy District, website.
Or we can put it in effective date.
We'll print that out.
It's not full enough.
You're talking about the charts?
I can't even get the website of the Water Conservancy District.
And it's still enough.
This.
The charts and then on the back there's another.
Okay, so this chart matches. This chart here,
Doesn't quite,
right here, right here, this section right here is everything here, see, but 8, 15, 20, 15. 8, 8, 8, 8.
I know, but
Potable and non-potable.
well, okay, but this says potable is secondary, it says potable and non-potable.
Because that's, because
I
that's
know where
always
you
in
got
there.
that, I know where you got that, I'm curious as to why they didn't do it exactly on the website.
Yeah, and but when we do next month, when we add the $1, we'll amend this to include that. That row right there, the backup connections prior to January 1st, and then we'll put this language. When we do when we do the ordinance next month, we'll have this language and we'll add that row.
And I just think it's interesting that these are the same.
Yes, so
And I know.
I'm debating, I am fine if we take this out, I have no objection if we take that out. Okay, so here, you take this, because so you know what we're talking about.
Okay.
Okay, so. So we changed the title as Paul wanted. Are you writing your section two? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we have to change the number. We will, I won't say that. Let's go cheap set if I say it.
I don't agree with that.
So have you had to deal with any of this, any the stuff we worked on right here?
With water district fees and things like that?
Yes.
No, not really.
Because they probably creates, all the other towns have already adopted this.
Yeah, a lot of the
We're just
communities in Washington County have adopted.
Leeds is going through, joining the water district right now. So they're following behind us by 6 months, what we were doing. And, yeah, they're going through the whole thing, they've got to annex into Ash Creek, they've got to do this, they've got to do everything we did. Waiting on you to finish your,
No,
I thought you were writing down the
I'm
writing, so for section, you're done?
I can model through it, yeah.
Okay, so I looked at, so the way the bullet points are. The first bullet point should be A, so we've got 7.04.90. That first bullet point should just be A. The second bullet point should be B. And then these charts, we are going to delete that first chart that says for existing water meters as of January 1st, 2023. We're gonna cross that out. Totally, and then this bullet point is gonna be with this small chart, it's only got 2 rows, that has the different seasons on it. That is going to be number 1, B1. And then the thing for non-residential connections will be number 2. So we've got A, B, and then B1 and B2. Or what those numbers should be when it goes into the municipal code. Understand? Okay. But I can tell you, when we adopted the water development surcharge fee last month, when we had the ordinance where we adopted it, it had bullet points, and we did not change the number.
Yeah. But that wasn't going into municipal code, was it?
Yes,
Unless.
it was.
We should have.
Yes, we should have changed it, but it's got bullet points, so I just wanted you guys to know that it's better housekeeping. And the numbering on the ordinance we adopted last month.
Transition anyway, it's well, and any housekeeping to correct.
Numbering. All right, so, I can propose the motion, or do you want to propose the motion as you've written section 2?
Let me take a stab at it.
Okay, because you're also going to change the title.
Yeah, right. Yes, so I move for adoption ordinance 2024-21. With the following amendments, changing the title as follows, deleting, starting with the word "and" all the way through to the second "and," so deleting and restating section 030 of chapter 4, parens water service, parens of title 7, parens public utilities, parens to better reflect the current rates and connection fees listed in Title 4, Chapter 12, General Revenue Fee Schedule N. So delete that language, add the following new language, Title 7, by, keep the word creating, insert new language of new, and then keep the language section 090 of Chapter 4, parens water service, parens. Then delete Title 7 and then retain the rest of the language.
You want to read that public?
Oh, yes, and delete public utilities. Thank you, they will. You see that after it should be delete Title 7 public utilities. And then page section 1 to read section 1, amending Title 7 of Virgin Municipal Code by adding a new section 7.04.090 to read as follows.
Okay, all right.
That makes it consistent with what we did above.
All right, go ahead with the rest of your motion.
Okay.
I'll fix what I have here after this.
And then under 7, where we have the 7.04.090, insert 090. Because that's.
Oh, okay, oh, yes, no,
And then under the first bullet point, change bullet point to A, second bullet point changes to B. Delete the third bullet point, which is the chart for existing water meters as January 1st, 2023, delete that chart. Then the next bullet point for residential connections after January 1st, 2023 will become subparagraph 1, so parens 1, parens. Do we need the parens?
no,
No, just subparagraph 1. Under the last bullet point for non-residential connections after January 1st, 2023, with parens 2,
Or
No,
just
no
number two?
bridge, just subparagraph 2, then add a new subsection 2, which will read following along, we may need to make some changes. New subsection 2, which would read, no retroactive fees or charges which may be created by this ordinance will be collected for the time period prior to passage of this ordinance. That'd be new
Subsection two,
Yeah, that'd be new subsection 2.
just section two, not subsection two.
Yeah, new section 2, and then renumber section, original 2, renumber 2, 3, and 4, then 3, 4, and 5.
Okay,
Did that make sense when I did section 2?
yes.
That the intent is not to charge any fees,
Can you read it one more time?
yeah, no retroactive fees or charges which may be created by this ordinance will be collected for the time period prior to passage of this ordinance. What is the best thing? She's the one that usually catches my,
No, that sounded great, it sounded good to me, no, that one was good.
Okay. All right. I second. The motion. I will take, if there's no further discussion, I will take a roll call vote. April. Aye. Paul.
aye.
Jean. Yes. Misty.
Yes.
Valerie.
Yes.
Okay. I will need you to read to me what you changed on section 1.
Section 1.
What was it that you changed?
Oh, okay, I said amending, so it should be section 1, to delete the whole, everything that you have on section 1.
Everything.
And then change it to read. Amending Title 7 of the Virgin Municipal Code by adding a new section.
Hold on. Okay,
So amending Title 7 of the Virgin Municipal Code by adding a new section 7.04.090 to read as follows.
okay, all right. All right,
Who's changing it? Are you changing? Okay.
that's why I wanted it, because I typed it, I'm gonna have to change it. So I'll do that tonight, and then that leaves
If
the rest,
you want to send it to me,
okay.
if you feel it's necessary.
No, I'll
You don't
probably
have
change it tonight when I get home, I'm gonna tell Niles to make me a cocktail, and I'll sit there and make some
And
changes
do we
while
need
I'm,
to edit?
while I'm, doing this, and now we have the resolution.
We need to take out that existing, when we took it out of the ordinance, do we need to take the double, that for existing water meters as of
Yes,
January first
yes,
as well?
yes.
We need to add that section 2.
So I revised the resolution to say that it is $10 per 1,000 gallons exceeding the monthly demand threshold as detailed below. We're gonna delete that first bullet point, just like we deleted the first bullet point in the ordinance. And then that leaves, the $10 for new residential connections and then for non-residential. So you guys got the revised. This is page 59, 60, and 61, and 62 in your packet. Okay. So the only thing I think you need to do is to delete that first bullet point on page 60. That first chart.
We don't need to restate, like you have section 2 in there. This one too.
I know, this is merely amending the fee schedule. This is not amending anything in the, it's just the fee schedule. Our fee schedule is gonna be, there's no way all this is gonna go on one page. Right, because we've been shrinking and shrinking on that fee schedule. So Crystal, are you ready? Okay, because. Okay. So. I just want to make sure you were ready for minutes, okay? All right, so this is the last thing. What else I have for us to discuss? We can just wait till next month because it's getting too late. So, this is a resolution to amend the fee schedule to reflect the fees we just adopted.
I'm all amending now, somebody else is gonna have to do it.
Okay. Sorry, I was just making
You're
sure.
looking at me now.
Yeah, I know. With one left, the last one, and you say you're amended that, you're done. Okay. Yeah, if you would.
Okay, I motion to approve resolution number R 2024-Y. Removing the first bullet point that says for existing water meters as of January 1st, 2023, and a subsequent chart with it. And those are the only edits.
Sorry,
All in, we're gonna have to do it again, because this involves money, we'll do a roll call vote. This one, we're gonna start with Valerie. Yes. Misty.
Yes.
Me, yes. Paul.
aye.
And I. Okay. So the other three things I had on the agenda were discussion items. I will leave this for you guys to, we will just talk about this next month. We were going to discuss, continue the discussion about the town manager. And I had in everybody's packet, but we shuffled so many papers, you may not see it. But I had put in everybody's file an organization chart that I've been working on. But I would like to have that. The question was going to be whether or not this is something the town council should adopt, because I would like to put this on the town website eventually. So I just didn't know if this is something we should adopt or not. Just because of what it is, I felt like the town council should discuss it, and we'll discuss it next month. And then the discussion, you know, Paul, you had mentioned before you would like to remove this section on all the zones about, the location. Okay, that you don't like, because we put this eligibility, everything here is eligible to be, and so, there has been a proposal to remove the location designation in all zones, and that's that whole eligibility thing. And so, I put that on for us to talk about and then send on to the planning commission to come up with an ordinance to remove that from all the zones.
And what's his position on that?
I have not talked to Keith on that,
Yeah,
but I don't think he liked the eligibility thing either.
Okay, so
It was done for a specific reason, way back, because the town was so broke, they couldn't afford all sorts of stuff, and they felt that putting this eligibility section took place of zoning maps and all this, because they were gonna have to pay for all of that. So, that's how that got put in. So,
it's kind of double-edged sword, and I'll just briefly, one is that we get people arguing that once you put the eligibility in, you've already created a zone change and made it, we've got to have a
Yes.
commercial.
yes,
That you have to approve the zone change and it doesn't matter what, because you've already made it eligible for that zone. That's been the argument. I asked Heath and he said that's very defensible, so he's not so worried about that. The other double-edged sword though is if you take that eligibility requirement out, eliminates one step which people can in referendum. As a public, we haven't had a referendum for a while, but when we would do it, we would do it based upon the eligibility and not the actual zone change. And really then that gives citizens a greater opportunity to referendum.
okay. Okay,
Those are the two I saw right away in the
Okay.
discussion.
so I just put that on discussion because you and I talked before about getting rid of the eligibility stuff. And
It is
so,
further along.
Is there anything that we need to send to P and Z, because obviously I need to actually keep liaising, because we've missed things since September when I stopped.
oh, okay,
So we've missed a few things, and I'll go back and find those.
okay.
But anything from today or anything you want them to work on that I can send?
No, I was just gonna put this on for us to discuss again next month.
Okay, so this is
Before we,
gonna-
so that we can then decide that, if we want to send, if we do want to send this to planning commission to work on, and whether we want to tell Riker to start drafting ordinance, and so I'm just gonna have it continue for discussion.
Cause I'm gonna go back through those last three and send those bullet points that we put at the bottom to them.
Okay.
Because they were a few of them that I missed.
Okay,
And then Mayor, on the discussion on vehicle for the town,
yeah,
just keep in mind, my position is gonna be, unless it's an emergency, we need to run it through the CIP committee.
okay. This one was not going to be an emergency.
And then I think it should be the CIP committee that should weigh in on it.
Okay,
Should be request, because CIP is budgeting tool for you and for the citizens to avoid this, okay, I need this, let's approve it. Instead, it should be submitted by the Public Works Department saying, I need to do that.
okay, this wasn't, this one, this vehicle that we're talking about is not for public works. What we, April and, Crystal and I discussed one day whether or not we need a town vehicle for, we were looking at how many miles Crystal has put on her car,
Right.
how many miles I put on my car, how many miles we put on some of the town trucks to run down to do some simple errands where somebody can take like a small car.
Yes,
And if we were at a travel.
that's good, but still
And
should
so-
probably go through the CIP.
Okay, okay. But it's not public works.
Yeah,
It's all-
okay, for the town, yes.
So
I
for
think that-
example,
I think that'd be a good use.
because what's his name,
Good.
Nick took the town truck to go to a training session in Salt Lake, if we had this little car, so much less gas
Yeah, and
and stuff
Do
like that.
people see,
Good
when you take
reimbursement.
the truck home to his house,
Yeah, but I'm talking about,
any other vehicles, do they all go to their houses?
no,
So the town trucks are parked here,
yes,
and then they
although,
drive their personal
although
vehicles.
Nick, no, what Nick did when he went to training, he took the truck that we used for parks, and he drove that. And so many,
It's
many,
different when
many
you pick it
towns.
up and then go home, that's different, I mean, like, is it an everyday thing that our vehicles are going home with anybody, or is it all staying?
Nick takes a truck home, but I'm talking about, what we are talking about,
No, I
for
know
this
this other vehicles for us, that was a side question.
okay, that was a side question, yeah,
Yeah,
Nick takes the
that
truck.
was a side question.
Okay.
To address something else.
Does Crystal can reimburse for mileage?
Yes,
Good.
and so our deal was, when we started looking at how many miles she's put on her car, and what, and then for me too, like, for example, I went to Torrey. And, round trip, we're talking like 500 miles on my car to go to Torrey to talk to them about the post office. And, there were other people that went with me, but still, it was 500 miles.
Yeah.
And so it's like those things start adding up to the point that's like, we had a small
It's
car.
standard.
A small
basic
car.
for all
Yeah.
businesses.
Okay, I'll give you an idea. I got my car with 7 miles, I have 11,000 miles on my car.
It's,
Wow.
Majority of it is counted.
a lot of organizations have a motor pool, which
Right,
you're required to use the motor pool car if it's available before you use
and
your
so.
own car for
So
mileage.
what was going on is, there's a car up here, this is Bill Johnson's car. That is for sale, that car would be perfect, it's a 2024. It's got 7,500 miles on it,
Not even,
if it's even
less
75.
than 5.
And it is, the price has been reduced to 16,000.
Yeah.
And it wasn't 25, it's 16, it's like, oh my gosh, remember, it's a great, it's sitting right up there by where the, over by, it's sitting in front of the Junior's house right now, where for sale signs. And we were just like, that would be perfect, because it's a little car. And it would get great gas mileage, and it's got such low mileage, and it just would be great. But if we don't get it, then we just continue on and try to find something different, but that was the impetus for us saying, you know, if we could get it, it would be perfect.
It's just as I'm going to like St. George all the time, I go to the water conservancy district, I go to the attorney's office, I go, you know.
And it's not just you, I mean,
Also, you do, we're constantly driving, Gina and I go a lot of errands,
and the
all
public,
the time.
the public works guy has a meeting once a month in St. George for DTAC. I go to DTAC, he goes to DTAC, and that's once a month.
I know,
And
but the
so-
public works, they have their
and they go-
vehicles, but we have to use our personal vehicles, and that's our mileage on our personal vehicle, right?
So, anyway, that's what that's
So
about,
the
that's what
question,
that's about.
so the question next month for us is, do we wanna take advantage to get this car right away? Instead of running it through the CIP?
Yeah, that is something to consider,
Okay,
and we'll just keep our fingers crossed it doesn't sell between now and then.
Exactly.
and then if it does sell, then bring the issue to the CIP.
Yes, exactly.
And then at our last meeting, we were going to have a rep from the sheriff's department.
He's coming in January. He was gonna be in there in November, and then when I asked if he could make December, he said, no, we'll do it about January, and I said, yes, so he'll come in January.
Just as a side to the vehicle, we check state contracting to see what, like,
Well-
a car would be to buy one for them.
We have not we've looked at the state auction website to see like vehicles that towns are getting rid of. And they have, as a general rule, 100,000.
Right.
So we're like, okay,
Yeah, but
what
I
is
know
it?
the state has a contract with like over whatever for certain prices on vehicles. And so a small vehicle is contracted to state on that for better
We
price.
would have to check.
The fire
Yes.
department's getting away with some vehicles that the towns can purchase, but I think they're probably a little bit higher than what we need to is.
Yeah, so we're just looking for a tiny little car. We can check, I can ask Monica to get on the state auction website, but I didn't ask her to check anything about the state.
Just the new versus the old.
Yeah. Wait, motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Now we know 2 minutes. Is that 2 minutes earlier? Second, all in favor? Yes, okay. Holy moly, that was a lot.
A lot that,
Did we get